Welcome back to the final day of the group stage here from SI 2024, live from Sao Paulo, Brazil. We're still sticking to that Group A, and this time around, we're going to be having a look at G2 up against DarkZero. A game that a lot of people are looking forward to, and most importantly, could be the one defining whoever solidifies his first spot in their group.
Oh, both these teams are fan favorites, and the energy in here was pretty good. Both teams were playing their own different types of music. Yeah. It was like a dance battle was about to break out. I mean, Alabama was playing like Slim Shady music. I mean, it's pretty fitting. He dyed his hair blonde.
I mean, you wanna show us the moves? Like, feel free. Like, it's a party. You can get on top as well.
I could get crazy on it. I could get crazy, but we'll save it for another. Yeah. Save it for the halftime show.
Yeah, maybe that's better indeed. Yeah.
Right, stay tuned for the halftime show. Okay, we're gonna see this guy get down.
I'm not sure if he's happy with that promise, but hey, anyways, I think this game, indeed, as you mentioned it, it's a game of favorites at the moment, because we talked about coming into this tournament, W7M, of course, a big favorite to win it all, and then, you know, they've not had the greatest of performances so far. They've had a bit of a rocky road, and then these two teams, of course, really showing up. Everyone you ask, basically, like, hey, who's like a top contender now for this event? Like, most of them are mentioning G2, but also DarkZero, so this game is a potential very good one. You know, maybe we'll get it later on in the stage again, but it's a very high-quality game for sure.
Since making the changes, I mean, Nafe has been doing a very good job on DarkZero. He's the first player in the last 4 renditions of DarkZero that has been thriving in that kind of support role for DZ. So fortunately for them, they found somebody who can be a really good, flexible backbone.
Yeah, when we're looking as well in terms of this head-to-head, the conversion or the stats in general at this point in time seem to be very heavily favoring on the side of G2, but also something to keep in mind here is that G2 generally has gone 2-0 in every single one of their matches. They look absolutely undefeated. And Easy, well, did they drop a map?
Yeah, I mean, the defense conversion rate doesn't really shock me just because of how good and amazing individually all the players on G2 are. Just being able to like roam around the map and handle as many people that go into their vicinity. They don't necessarily need too much of a team play on defense, but on attack, they do a phenomenal job with their strategy.
Yeah, when it comes to G2 as well, particularly something that we've highlighted before was the fact that every single one of the players on the roster can pop up and have a good day and carry their team over the line. That's what we've seen a lot in SI last year, but this time around it felt like a more of a cohesive unit, and we've highlighted, you know, their entry fraggers multiple times, but what about the support players, Anne?
Yeah, one player I'd really like to talk about is Uno in this regards. I think, you know, being more on the back line of this team, he really has these stand-up performances. We've seen it on Oregon before, where he just gets a clutch and then gets another clutch, and even on a match point, they'll be able to convert it into a round win simply because of his clutches there as well. Also getting active on the entry is like, you know, it's like a jack of all trades, I guess.
He can do it all.
Yeah, he can do it all, basically.
You name it, he got it. And that's great for G2, but something to keep in mind, though, is they are going to be going up against DarkZero. And we had a lot of questions about this roster, particularly with the changes that have been made, with them showing up here at SI. What can we expect from them? What have they been hiding? What have they been cooking up? I think that's more what people were thinking about. And so far, not really disappointed what we've been seeing. They've genuinely been looking better and better as every single day goes on.
No disappointments at all. G2 have had an amazing support staff so far, but I wanted to highlight the support staff from DarkZero, specifically NJR and Nafe. Those guys have been phenomenal for DarkZero. NJR and Nafe are both plus 25 and plus 26. So G2 have 2 amazing support players that are obviously doing great in the team dynamics. DarkZero has 2 support players that are practically winning the late rounds for the team.
That's impressive.
Similar to what's happening at G2, potentially, like, you know, support players that can really win the round at the end of that round. I mean, you look at the entry sets as well here, pretty impressive if I have to say it, but if you look at DarkZero as a team, as a whole, they tend to be one of the slower teams. I think they're the 4th slower team right now, but I think it also has to do with how many times they actually plant.
Absolutely, they are the highest plant percentage team. They currently at 33%, which may not seem like a lot, but Canadian is leading the charge. He has 12 plants, which is the most in the whole event. So obviously DarkZero has a great game plan of trying to get that case down, which will obviously allow the flexibility to the support players. They don't have to necessarily focus on getting the case down afterwards. They can play the post plants and have the other team push into them, deal with them, and they've been just hitting the shots once it gets to that position.
Sticking on the topic of DarkZero particularly and their playstyle, a question that we had was, okay, you're bringing Nafe, that European influence, that European support onto the roster. How exactly is that going to shape it up in terms of how they approach the game? Does it feel like we've been seeing more glimpses of EU gameplay on DarkZero? Has it just been similar DarkZero from what we've seen in Atlanta? What's the change?
I think it's a little bit mix of both. I know Canadian probably wants to take a little bit less of the charge, especially being on a flex role, and allow Nafe to just come in and bring the brains. A lot of people in Europe say that Nafe is one of the best players that has never really got that shot on a top team.
We can ask the EU specialist.
Yeah, we could ask the EU specialist.
I'm just really happy to see him play so many different operators as well. We've seen him play supportive operators, also more operators like Grim and stuff. And he's been performing with all these operators that he's basically been put onto. So I'm just really happy to see this addition. And even if an NA team makes it really far, I can still say, there's at least one European on the team. So
there you go.
we get to have our fair share of that.
European player, right? Like it's kind of an NA tradition at this point.
Yeah, every team right now is getting a European player. I mean, we saw GK with Noodle. Unfortunately, they just got eliminated. But now DZ with Nafe on the other end, I mean, it's complete opposite spectrum. Nafe has been the highlight player on DarkZero.
This is also a rematch from Atlanta, where we've seen G2. I mean, it was a close one. It was 8-6 for G2 in terms of going up against DarkZero, but that was a BO1. We're now looking at a best of 3, which means there are 3 different maps that we can be going on to, and every single map can be approached as a own individual game, which obviously it will be, but you can just like mentally reset. Bans being Consulate, Labs, Oregon, and Bank. We're heading on to Chalet as first. What are we thinking?
DarkZero is one of those teams that have in the history favored more defender-sided maps. Chalet being a pick for them is very interesting. I'm excited to see if Nafe has brought some strategy from M&M to, I guess, just handle a little more aggression from the map.
Yeah, I feel like it was a map they were very comfortable on indeed, but also for DarkZero, Chalet is a map they're really they're happy to play. They won it against NIP in this event. It was going to be the decider against FearX, but it didn't get that far. And then G2 coming out with the Clubhouse pick. That was a map that they played against NIP. They currently have a 3-game win streak on this map, so definitely something they're very, very comfortable on. Oregon, unfortunately, not in the play. That was the map that was played in the best of 1 in Atlanta. It was a very close game, so that even says that, hey, maybe this game is going to be just as close. Because if you win it,
the trash talk's coming out.
But we have Border as the decider. Likelihoods of this going to Border, though, considering that both of these teams seem to be the most equally matched in this group, what are we thinking?
I mean, Clubhouse and Border are notoriously known to be NA favored maps, so G2 leaving them both up, obviously they're both comfortable, but I think it'll be a real big battle of adaptation. And I love the energy from DarkZero. I've never really seen that just like screaming before. That's very uncanny as an NA fan. I mean, so that's interesting. The trash talk.
Yeah, because you guys usually can't really back it up, but this time around you're doing great.
Oh, I mean that's fair. That's fair. We are doing pretty good though so far. So
okay,
can't complain.
I'm gonna chill with the NA digs. I'm sorry, but I think something to highlight here as well. These two teams being the most closely matched. I think initially we were thinking it was going to be NIP and G2 that are going to be battling for that #1 spot, but now it seems to be DarkZero G2. And with the map picks that we have, this could be a really interesting series. It most likely will be. I think something that you touched upon as well earlier, Anne, was the fact that when you were speaking to people and you're like, okay, who are you most likely going to see in those live? You're like DarkZero or G2. Yeah. And now we have them both.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see this matchup so early on in the tournament. But then, of course, in the perspective of the group, it makes a lot of sense as well. If you win this game, you'll be leading that group. That means you get that extra day off going into playoffs, but it also means you get that 1 round further into the playoffs. And then from there on, you're only 2 games away of making it to that main stage. And we know both these teams, of course, really want to get to that for it.
I really think the biggest thing we're going to look for is DarkZero, I guess, making the giant bleed. I think G2 hasn't really looked shocked. They haven't really been tested. And I think this is probably the hardest game that they have to play through phase 1. So it'll be interesting to see if they can make them bleed and make them fight for a little bit more than just a 2-0.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at G2 as well, and historically at teams who have done well at SI. That doesn't necessarily translate into the rest of the year or the rest of the competition. So they can be setting themselves up for another moment or mark in history.
Yeah, or they could be setting themselves up for failure. Already the trash talk coming out.
Loud, yeah.
We talked about it in Atlanta when teams start to trash talk back. I mean, G2 sometimes maybe gets stressed, but I think they're definitely very confident right now.
Yeah, that's something that we touched upon very early coming into this tournament, and that was like that mental warfare aspect from G2, which you can like hear right behind us right now. They seem to be settling into it because they were pretty quiet.
Yeah, I mean, they're growing into the tournament so far, but something that I'm really happy to see from G2 is that they're able to adapt to whatever is being thrown at them. If the enemy plays really passive, they'll make sure they get everything sorted out. The enemy does not allow... If the enemy's just sitting there, they'll wait... Sorry, if the enemy's pushing them, they'll just be like, okay, well, we'll wait. We'll not give anything away. I think that discipline's been a really big thing. We talked about the fundamentals a lot on the side of G2, but yeah, I mean, if you're performing that well, then I guess you're allowed to get vocal in a certain way as well.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But like DarkZero has been performing pretty well themselves. I haven't heard them being loud.
No,
They were?
they're pretty confident. I mean,
Okay.
right before they did their little chant, I haven't seen that yet. So to me, that is very eccentric from DarkZero.
All right, one of the most exciting matches that we have on today, battle for first in Group A between G2 and DarkZero. And we're ready to head on to the first map.
One major spot in this group has already been decided. Unfortunately, we bid farewell to GK. The other major spot, though, Penko, of course, is the #1 spot. And we've got the two #1 teams in this particular group.
Yeah, and honestly, when you look at this group going into it, I don't think people are too surprised about G2 and DarkZero being the two teams fighting that first spot, but I will say how they got here has been a bit of a surprise. G2, reigning current Invitational champions, holding that hammer. Of course, they're gonna go flawless so far, right? 3-0, but DarkZero picking up both Bolo and Nave. A lot of question marks, but you cannot really say anything but an amazing performance for them so far.
Yeah, I think both teams have been sensational. You mentioned the fact that for G2, it's been 3-0, but it's also been technically 6-0. They haven't dropped a map.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously for DarkZero, they did drop a map back on day 1 against GK. That map actually coming on Consulate. We're not going there in this particular series, so fret not, NA fans, for DarkZero. But still, nevertheless, in terms of what's up for stakes, first place. What do you get for first place? You get to go straight to the quarterfinals. You avoid the other first place teams as well until at least the semi-finals too. So it's certainly a position you want to be in. And for what does DarkZero need to do? Simply win. Even winning in a 2-1 scoreline will be enough, because they would then have the tiebreaker to overcome that one map deficit.
Yeah, so all you gotta do here is win. It is that simple for both of these two teams, and things will start off in pretty similar fashion to what we're used to seeing here. DarkZero, they love banding out the Dokkaebi every single matchup we've seen from them so far, whereas G2, a bit more specific based on the map and their opponent, a bit more flexible. They're going for Ying and the Fenrir. Pretty strong operators, of course, here on Chalet. Fenrir makes entering very difficult for the attacking side, and of course, Ying, well, if you think DC's going to utilize that operator, of course, you're going to just target ban it away.
Yeah, very standard bans here. I think Dokkaebi and Ying probably have been one of the more dominant pairings in terms of attacking bans at this particular event. When it comes to defensive bans, obviously there's a whole wide range of defensive operators you can really choose from. So the Azami, the Fenrir. I've seen some teams have been electing to bring Tubria a little bit here on Chalet, especially for basement. So I don't know if we'll see that, but it's not a prominent factor on this particular map as it is on others. We go ahead to Chalet first, of course. The map pick of DarkZero. They'll start on the defense. In terms of the attacking win rate for this particular map, 45%, which is close to best. I think the best is about 46%, so it's not too bad, not too shabby. It does mean for DarkZero on defense, it's not like we're expecting them to go and get 5-6 rounds here.
No. Right now, realistically, when you're on attack, that is, we're expecting you to get about 2 rounds on average based on what team you are. But of course, every team, they have different skill sets. We do see a team like G2, they like to match their opponent's energy. When they're up against GK or FearX, they play more loose, they play more in your face, they'll play some Blackbeard, have some fun with it, right? But I think both teams on the server, they recognize this is both each other's biggest challenge so far in groups. They both want to go out in first place, and they both have high expectations from themselves and, of course, from their fans.
The other major team in this group was probably Ninjas in Pajamas, NIP, FearX, and GK down towards the bottom too. Of course, both of these teams respectively able to deal with NIP 2-0, so this really is the big test. On the final day, 4 groups, of course, playoffs after this, so for DZ and G2, a really good warm-up as well, mind you. Something to think about going forward into the competition. This is the kind of matchup you can see really deep, basically in the arena.
I mean, I'm really happy that this is going to be like the last day of groups. Imagine DCG2 first day of group stage, right? No. Let's stall out a bit. Let's make this matter, make it exciting, and that's exactly what they did. And despite this being a very important game, I will see the pace right now pretty quick from both sides. Here getting active, Doki gets the opening kill, and G2 early on the board in the first round.
Yeah, obviously needed to try and get that trade. Doki can make the entry in towards Bathroom. This is basement site, by the way, to begin here from DarkZero. Probably not the conventional starting position that we see teams typically on Chalet. They've tried to take a little engagement over towards the game's big window, but not coming to fruition. This is where DZ would love to have got 1 or 2 back and then look to stabilize. Unable to find that means that for G2, that 2-player advantage is going to be maintained.
Oh no. I mean, Nave's in a arguably good position here, but Benjamin, the flank on Jacko, can see the feed with the gadget and just find his location. Uno played it smart, ran away, staying alive right now because G2 don't want to keep this advantage. But Nave, do you have to read on this? Oh, his feet are sticking out. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Rough start for DarkZero, but credit to G2 dealing with this roam, doing it really well. 5 versus 2, still 90 seconds left. Bolo and NJR over towards site. Obviously, you don't count them out when it does come to basement. We've seen some tricky things happen over towards Snow Wine, but nevertheless, a lot of time for G2. They play the right way, get the drones out, get the information. Now they actually get towards the forward, and this is what good teams will do. You go back to that checklist, even though it's a 5-on-2.
Yeah, pay respects. No throwing here for G2. It's a serious gameplay right now. 5v1 now. G2 in the driver's seat.
Incredible start. It's down to just NGR. Unfortunately, not a lot he can do in stopping this flank going down from Muno. It does get at least one kill onto Benja. That's easy on the board. Not in terms of the right category, though. The category that you want to be in is the round wins, and that's where G2 are going to start well. A good start on Chalet.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the quickest, most efficient... One of the quickest, most efficient rounds I've ever seen in Chalet at this event, I think, where they're in the building in 30 seconds, they're getting 2 opening kills, and then the only person who slowed things down is Uno. And why is that? He has diffuser case, he's playing the Capital, he's needed for the bomb side if things they get... Mouse so loud! Come on, Carl! It's the first round, man. It's early here, right? It's just, you know, just midday right now, 12:10 p.m. local. We're still waking up, right? It's been some long nights of prep work and getting ready for things, and this was Doki opening the window, Pampus was jumping out at the same time, Alama... Okay.
Ooh,
okay.
Wow, okay.
Okay. So they get a kill on bathroom window, and they think, oh, the response from this will be for somebody to peek the mezzanine window on piano hallway.
Yep.
So he walks in, pre-fires it through the wall, and wall bangs Canadian.
Come on, Troy! You have to be better than that! You are so bad!
You can't wallbang someone and say you gotta be better. You're so bad. He couldn't even fight back.
No,
come on.
Canadian had something else to worry about, but I mean, in that instance, at least 4G2, really solid start. You can feel what that's going to mean for them. And 1-0 start on Chalet attack. They're not the best attacking team. In fact, one of the best attacking teams has been DarkZero this tournament, rated the second highest when it does come to their attacking win rate. So at a map like Chalet, that can really open up in that second half. So even if G2 do well here in the first half, DarkZero is not really renowned for their defense at the tournament. Only 67%, certainly on the lower end. We're seeing teams up to like 80%, Pengu. So for DarkZero, this is not really the half that they have to probably win. I think even like a 3-3 would be fine for them. But good signs from G2 to begin. We do slow it down a little bit because we do go to bar games. A little bit more conventional compared to basement.
Also, the attacker lab says the same story. Nomad, Brava, etc. This is an attacker lab that wants to slow things down, hack those cameras, just set things up, and a good team will play, you know, either fast or slow, but a great team will change between that as long as they need to. So first quick round from G2, just gonna get into the minds of DarkZero. Second round, really slow things down, drone everything twice, set up your Nomad air jabs and flanks, etc. And now DarkZero, they have to be on their toes. Are they gonna go fast? Are they gonna slow? They don't really know.
Yeah, and G2's been one of the fastest entry teams as well at this tournament, minute and 4 seconds. So don't be too surprised when we see that. Opening round, fast pace. Second round, Doki, nice little lurk. Has been yellow pinged out. So information note, Nave gets an opportunity and he does not miss.
It's an injure. Should be a free kill. Nave pays respects, takes the corner. Canadian also good for 1. DarkZero now with the 2 opening kills, just like T2 in that round prior.
Yeah, and it's so far really solid and stalwart defense from DarkZero to begin with. No trades come through from G2. Tried to kind of just lurk in, try to get some pressure. Didn't go for that more conventional either sweep across or pressure top library. Virtue now just repelling on down. So far, though, this is a bit of an issue for G2 because time's going to become a factor as well.
And it is. And you gotta say that Doki, I love to see the full commit there go straight into the side, but the issue is you're up against Valkyrie that was left open by G2. So when you're gonna go for these slow creep around placing the attack inside, if you're up against a Valkyrie or an Echo or a Maestro, those cameras might find you. We saw the yellow pings come out, Nave acted upon it, and DC, they love playing structured off intel.
Yeah, I mean, there was a live drone for Virtue in towards Piano, but didn't quite get to Nave, and as soon as he vaults in, Nave is already holding that angle anyway. So poor timing moment there, unfortunately, for G2. Alamau just goes for that lurk once again. We saw it earlier. Nave was already watching it. They're switched on here, DarkZero. 5 versus 1. Talk about a rebound round in just the second one after a bit of a struggling start. Flawless there from DarkZero. Any response to Alamau? No.
I mean, the funny thing about Troy is that you never know which version you're gonna get. Either he's gonna be screaming his lungs off, talking so much smack, or what we saw right there, just fully composed. But I think when you're in this new environment where you have Nave and Bolo on the roster, it's your first time together, first land, etc. While Nave and Bolo are experienced, it's not about Troy getting loud for their opponents right now. They gotta focus on the new system they've implemented and just make that work.
Yeah, interesting round though, because I think for DarkZero, when you kind of look at bar games on Chalet, it can be rather conventional. Hold position, watch position. This is your job. Take care of this. But it was really just kind of Nave's position there where he was like, I'm going to make sure no one's going to be able to lurk in, push in towards bar. He catches them off guard, opens up that hallway. Really good job, I thought, from DZ to then not get too over-aggressive. Something they maybe did a little bit in round 1.
Oh, Canadian. Maybe took that personal and saying you're so bad when you got a great gunfight kill there. But if you haven't seen DC play yet at this tournament, I think you are correct to say that Nave is like the pillar of this team. Not that he makes or breaks it, but he's always in the middle and being like, okay, who can I help right now? Always that arm reaching and say, okay, Troy needs a frag, like a refrag, I'll go help Troy. Bolo's in a bad spot, I'm gonna save Bolo. He's never himself he doesn't put himself in danger, but he helps people that are in danger.
Yeah, real switch up there, at least in that last round. DZ opening round, aggressive, going for vault outs, trying to get some early kills. And then this time around, they were very much more in control of the map inside of the building. So 1-1, perfect start, dream start. We kind of want that from these two behemoth of these teams in terms of probably we don't really want to see a whitewash. No one wants to look at this matchup seeing it turn into a 7-2, 7-3 kind of territory. Flores being picked out here by Alamount. That's going to open up some good verts as well, of course, as we go to kitchen and dining for the 3rd round.
Also, both teams here having to play a bunch of different operators in the first 3 rounds, whether it's the passive stuff like Castle and Flores, or obviously more aggressive stuff like MGR playing Alibi now, 2 rounds basically. We're trying to feel each other out still, figure out what is the pace, who's gonna set it, but first round G2, next round D0, and now in round number 3, it's Doki double kill onto Canadian, who's in these opening engagements every single round so far.
Yeah, big operator as well to lose on the stallers. Hello, back to back into back, and there's an early plan as well from Alamau, straight in towards site. Bolo just sitting in towards office, thinks he's got a good angle, but no, Plank goes down successfully. For the side of G2, Pampas, who tries to take the push over towards Solar, he can't make his way out of the doorway, and so far, for the 3rd round in a row, it's been rather one-sided for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, this is insane. G2 with a great read there, maybe from previous studies, saying, you know what, they have a weakness here in their defensive side on kitchen. We just go for a quick plan to do that. On the window repels with 3 members, go into trophy window, open the soft wall, and just plant in the first 45, 60 seconds of the active round, basically. Bolo 1v5, he might be great, but not that great. Another flawless back-to-back, but for different teams.
Yeah, incredible. What a start. Back-to-back, and so far both teams have had success on Chalet. It's G2 though, 2-1 up. Really quick attack. Again, goes back to that 104 kind of entry time, 60% entry success rate. I mean, they're a very efficient team when they attack. Again, it's not like the highest win rate percentage for attack, but they're probably the best when it comes to efficiency and time as well. And you could clearly see that on display in that last round.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, we can make a lot of jokes about G2, how they won Invite last year, and then they really bombed out domestically, internationally, didn't make it past quarters, didn't really go anywhere of significance, and then all of a sudden, Invite comes around again. It's like, okay, we gotta defend our hammer, we're gonna try and go back to back, and it's a new G2, a different performance than the regular season that's shown up so far, and we can argue that, okay, GK, NIP, you know, FearX,
Fucking jumped out at me. What up, God?
not the toughest opponents for G2 so far, but imagine how well they're warmed up, right? They're being plowing through the competition, 2-0s, and they're feeling good. They're feeling so confident. In fact, this is their 3rd time playing Chalet. They will go up on Chalet on anybody because they're so comfortable in their own capabilities and their own strat and prep work that it doesn't matter if you're FearX, GK, or DarkZero. And so far in the first 3 rounds, already up in a round lead.
Yeah, and it's a total flip as well for G2 when you kind of look at their map pick of Clubhouse, the map we haven't really seen from them. So it goes to that workshop territory. Hello, Nave. That's a nice little pick over towards the game's window, and that's going to be Uno falling early. So again, we continue this little roller coaster of rounds. It's G2, then it's DZ, then it's G2, now it's DZ. In terms of the opening kill here, good start for DarkZero, especially on this basement side. Bolo down towards bot west main stairs. He's got entry over towards Boiler, and it is being watched, understanding that, again, for G2, they like these fast entry pushes. Doki in towards Boiler already does kind of probably say that they want to go fast in towards Wine.
Yeah, but Benji is there with a drone, just saying, you know, Doki, this might not be clear in your ace this time, so please don't die early. We need that heartbeat capability, and they will join out that player on West Main Staircase, force the movement. Now G2, with that loss of Uno early on, they will start to slow things down. Almost very alone here.
One-on-one, Alamau Gumai gives away the position on the vault in. Nice shots coming through. It's a 2-on-1 actually with Ambizu and Canadian both holding this top library position. 1-for-1 trades elsewhere. Doki winning that battle over towards site. In fact, he's in towards storage already. A couple of bees buzzing from the Hive launcher utilized by Benja before going down, who did lose his life on the main breach. At least they've got good pressure both sides of the map here. But Pambizu does get the kill onto Vertu. Fall from Canadian is aggressive, but it is also successful. Alamau to fall. And as the opening 4 rounds have now gone, another one-sided affair, this time for DarkZero, down to just Doki. Despite good positioning, despite getting a kill, all that has been for naught.
He's been on site for like 40 seconds, by the way. They have no idea. They try and plant though. You see what happens. There's Evil Eyes. They got intel now. He's not in the best position.
Too much utility that still needed to be clear. And for DarkZero, certainly a more important round for them, considering G2 have looked really prominent to begin on their attacks of Chalet. When you think about the tournament as a whole, it does favor defense, and so you really do want to get those defensive rounds stacking up earlier rather than later. You don't want to be down 3-1 already, so a really big round for them to win basement 2-2. More importantly, now opens up bedroom and office is where we're going to be heading to for actually the first time in this particular half, but really solid round. And again, it was that fast-paced play style. Look at the clock, 2 minutes, Tengu, and they're already trying to rush in towards Wine.
I mean, this is one of those games where I would love to hear the comments from both sides, because they both seem so confident. They win the round, they lose the following, but then straight back to business again where they're so confident. We've not seen either team start slowing down or giving up map control. They're both fighting for it all the way through. And typically, one team will take control and set the pace, set the tone. That's not the case right now. They're matching each other very well here.
Feels like a chess battle.
It really does, yeah. Really back and forth, yeah.
2-2 start here for the Juggernaut matchup. DarkZero on the defense send us over towards office and bedroom for this 5th round. 2 more to go in the half. And so far, it's been a worthy match to watch as the way both teams have played out. And for what feels like the 5th round in a row, just like massive attacker repick as well from G2. They just keep changing it up, but bringing that Grim, really utilizing that virtue now back on it as well. Benja gave it a go in the last round.
Let's see. The first team, I think, to change things around, kind of giving up the way that they were playing. It's like a game of chicken. And G2 so far, for this round, they're playing a lot more passive utility operators. You want the Grim alive, the Flores alive, the Lion alive, the Nomad alive. The only true entry you can really lose early on right now is arguably LML on the box. So I'm curious to see how much more time will be spent this round from G2's side before we start seeing some actual action happening. Because with the other lineup, I feel like they're gonna go slower.
Yeah, big stack on this solo side from both teams. Kind of means that Nate's a little bit on an island on that south side of the map where he's just playing that Legion, spread the goo mine, so he's got a large map control that he has to kind of watch over, and he lost his life early too as well. That's a big loss. At least Canadian from down below inside of Dining uses that vert nicely through the floorboards. A little bit more of a scrappy round. Never mind, G2 come out on top, just winning the gunfights again, just through sheer speed on entry. That has just been like a go button. They are constantly spamming every single round. Benja gets the plant. We still had 2 minutes in the round. Does not matter. Canadian's by himself in the 1 versus 4. He's down below court. Benja cooking inside a kitchen. They get themselves another round win. 3 here for G2.
I don't understand. Not a single Retero drone was used from Benja Master. Only a couple of beasts went out. Only 1 Lion scanner went out. Like, well, I'm looking at this like, okay, they got so many tools. They can clear the shields. They can clear positions. They can do vertical plays. They can run clear the map. No, G2 will do 3, 2, 1 countdown and full send it into the map.
Well, clearly, this first half has all been about pace. The pacing from G2, and they are the ones also dictating the gameplay that we're seeing right now. The couple of rounds that DarkZero have won, why have they basically won those rounds? Well, they've been able to stop those initial rushes. We saw it on Wine over in that 4th round. So clearly, right now, it's like it's G2 or bust, basically, on how they want to play this. That knife position as well, completely full white, as you can see. He was by himself, and because he's by himself, he can't get traded. They then get piano control, a lot easier to overload the site.
Come on, Canadian, you should retire!
Bit of frustration there from NGR. It doesn't feel good when you're getting run over like that, when you have deployable shields, utility on defense, because typically in a round of siege, defense, they have to build up like this puzzle, this big maze of obstacles for the attack inside, and you think, okay, we gotta flash this at the right time, throw a grenade, use a soft breach from floors, etc. But G2 with so much clear intel here and so much confidence in the server, they go, there's a shield, we'll just throw a flashbang, jump in the window, go for the kills, play together, and they have a really good read on the player positions from DarkZero every single round right now, where they usually get their first opening kill in their entries and are just so explosive afterwards.
There is one side though, and it is Bar Games, and it is the last one for this half, that I think can actually work out really well for DarkZero, because I think you can position yourself a lot better for these trades. So if there is that fast rush from G2, people are in position. That last round, Naif by himself, no one could help him out. No one could trade the kill either. And it just meant that G2 were able to go from a 5-on-5 to eventually a 5-on-1. Canadian tries to get aggressive. Obviously, when a team's going fast and you feel like maybe you need to match that pace, you want to go for these aggressive plays. Alamau's ready for it. We already saw the chirping coming into this round. That will hype him up even more, but eventually he does get traded back in a bit of a delay. Pamperzoo as well gets involved, and suddenly in an outside library balcony with the kit will just slow things down on the Flores.
Looks so good for G2 there, but a few gunfights going the wrong way. Elamau finds himself injured in the balcony with, I was going to say no help inside, but Virtue rotating over. He's going to prioritize that. Unu, though, whilst that's going on, gets isolated because he was alone. Nave with another aggressive advancement, jumping out a window, full sending into a gunfight.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably summarized, I think, this entire first half, where when G2 have won, it's that fast-paced rush, blitzkrieg gameplay where they just go in towards the site, hit some really good shots. DarkZero winning rounds as well, when they're kind of emulating that a little bit on the defense, trying to go for these spawn pigs, vault outs, getting aggressive, trying to just halt G2 before G2 overrun them. So far, it's been a wonderful first half. Not counting this round out just yet, though, with Alamau and Virtue. The one good thing with this fast-paced gameplay is you still have time. If you get the ability to have a kind of second option here. So slow down, 60 seconds, see what you can find. Can you create a couple of 1v1s?
Of course, if you can make this a close round as well, just get into your opponent's head a little bit here. Don't make them feel like they have any space in the map. You see right there, Bolo starts walking too much forward. Virtue is there. All of a sudden, the gap is closing.
50 seconds time, not that much of a factor, not just yet at the very least. Kit still does need to be recovered, and Alamau is quite low, but flashes, along with smokes, does give them utility over towards site. For DarkZero now, no more wandering. We saw that from Bolo over towards the hallway. Everyone else just has to hold site, hold key positions. Remember, DZ have kind of also got control of Kit still as well, over towards library side.
No, they do. So now G2, they got a problem solved. Yeah, hatches, they aren't even open up for you, buddy. That is too bad. And yeah, 2 smokes, 3 flashes, but diffuses outside the building. Guman takes that out even further down that health bar. And now things are getting a bit dire because DC, as you said, just waiting in those prime positions.
Flashes go out from Virtue. Has to make entry, needs to make contact. Does so. There's another one for Virtue. Now on 2 versus 2. Drop down. Guman need to pull that out. Low on health, and the Barstock fight has been won. Nicely done from Pamperzoo and Nave. But talk about a little comeback there as well for G2 to salvage that round, get it towards the final stages. And for what felt like maybe the first time in the half, Pengu, we had a bit of a close affair. Every other round was like a 5-on-1.
I gotta say, that's gotta be one of the fastest Chalet first halves ever. Every round is over so quickly, action happening so swiftly.
Yeah. They play really slow.
They play really slow. They actually do play really slow, by the way. 1:26 entry time. So that's about a whopping 22 seconds slower than G2 on the attack.
Okay.
You want to know the good news, though, for DarkZero is, yes, they play slower, but they're effective in that 55% attacking win rate is the second highest at the event so far. So slow pace doesn't mean bad pace.
Not at all. I mean, you can argue that G2 lost them down, as you mentioned, because they were too fast in this case. And the big question mark for me is, what is G2's reaction going to be if they know and talk about, oh, they are a slow team, they're going to go slow? Does that mean you're going to sit up, plant deny, play echo, smoke, C4s? Does it mean disrupt their gameplay? Because you know that if DC can reach the bomb site with 4 people alive, they're so efficient at attacking the bomb site. So do you try and disrupt them, or do you let them watch for all the time? Because DC, while they do have a slow time just like injuries, etc., they also tend to plant with 20 seconds left sometimes. It's a little bit too slow in this matchup.
It also depends on the opposition. That takes into account. If you're going up against inferior opposition, you might go a little bit quicker. If you're going up against, say, a G2, yeah, you might then inadvertently slow it down a little bit. And it also depends on the lineup. You've got the Mirror, you've got the Warden. So obviously for G2, happy to play a little bit that on-site defense. They know that DarkZero aren't necessarily going to rush them. They know it's probably going to be maybe like a 30-second kind of attack late round. Ben just seeing if he can maybe get himself into an opportunity to go for a cheeky little spawn pick, or at least with that Nitrocell, but he thinks better of it for now. Repels were heard, or at least the initial one, so clearly understand a solar side hit from DZ at the moment, drone through trophy from Canadian. And I'm very curious to see, indeed, what the pacing will be like here from DarkZero, because I wouldn't be surprised to see them also pick up the pace to maybe try and catch G2 off guard.
I was going to say, you can't give them too much space here. Oh, it looked like a bad beginning there for NTR, but the Mayor is definitely in town. Finds Benja, a huge pick that's Warden off the board here to allow DC more of a plant situation. The C4 is gone now. We know DC, the most plants in this tournament so far. Tron 8 plants single-handedly. So DC's entire win con typically is on attack to get down that diffuser.
Yeah, and no Water now. Flashes, not too many of them from NJR, and it's not like you have to deal with the Ying band down anyway, but still a good operator to take off the board. More droning, so clearly seeing a bit more of an emphasis in the droning gameplay from DarkZero compared to what we saw from G2.
Yeah, I mean, it's again the pace. 1 minute 30 seconds, the slowest round so far, only 1 death in the server, and DC, despite the yellow information, are still playing their cards pretty slow there. Pampa just now using those ass creatures to open up the floor, soften things up, and Nave holding angles, expecting a peek, and it is indeed happening, but he does not connect the shots.
Doki playing that library hallway on the Solus to deny information from the backside. Lovely Nitro Cell from Uno, catches out NJR on the repel. That was a large amount of pressure that you can apply from that window, now gone for the side of DarkZero. They don't have that anymore. Does now kind of make their attack a little bit more one-dimensional from the Solar side hit without that bedroom pressure.
DC's been so slow that G2 has fully rotated all their players because we was just Benji and Master Bedroom. Now there are 2-3 players from G2, Alama, Uno, and Virtue all holding that angle, forcing DC to commit into a bad gunfight situation or rotate it across the map. But the one roamer of Doki is also there to shut down that player.
Yeah, Doki was able to get that kill and now has still got library stairs control for G2. 3 versus 3 trade did come through eventually from DarkZero, and that slow pace round play style that we anticipated has come to fruition. Only 30 seconds remaining as Doki continues to battle. He's kept control of that position the entire round, and even until the end, start to finish from Doki towards library hallway. That's been under control for G2. DarkZero thought they maybe had a rotate option late round, but they never cleared it out.
Canadian. Oh, he gets the kill somehow, but it's still a 1v2 with 10 seconds left, and Troy's gotta really clutch up here.
10 seconds remaining. Canadian to check closet. That's so clean with the Bailiff. Now has an opportunity to kind of get that plant down. Just didn't have information outside of maybe Doki. Doki, of course, around that position. Library side eventually slipped in towards Piano, though. A little bit closer on that bathroom side. Good reposition from Doki. Understanding at that point, he'd done his job. That rotate had been done. You know where the last threat is. Move up a little bit. Get an off-angle position and catches Canadian off guard.
What did you want me to play again? I said Solus, right? Kill the guy in the highway, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want me to play, man? It's like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I mean, it seemed like DarkZero were expecting G2 to swing into their crosshairs and just holding angles. And when G2 then didn't make those really offensive plays, besides Benjamaster, who did die, they didn't gain any ground.
Yeah, and in terms of DarkZero, though, as well, I think they played into their natural playstyle, that drone game. They clearly wanted to get a little bit of that vert, make sure no one was roaming down below. They wanted to obviously overload that solar side. I think that, though, kind of played into what G2 were bringing defensively with the mirror, with the Warden. Yes, the Warden was dealt with early on, but still kind of the game plan, I think, for G2. I think, honestly, DarkZero kind of played into that a little bit, and they always had Doki as a fallback option in that sort of roam game that kind of allowed G2 to have information that, hey, no one's coming from that mezzanine side.
That's important because teams will often over-rotate and have 5 people just all go to Master, then you leave up, you know, libraries free, lobbies free, etc. But Doki's sticking around, as you mentioned, very crucial. He finds 3 kills in the round because of it as well. He's 9-4 right now, putting up a stellar performance against DarkZero, whereas the supportive cast of Uno, who spends most of the time droning on attack, playing those util global gadget operators, he's 1-4. He's only killed a C4, but that's all G2 has needed from him so far because the other players are stepping up to the plate right now. So far in this tournament, every single player from G2 is positive, with the worst player going +7. That's not a bad situation whatsoever. That's a great spot here for G2.
Over towards main garage in terms of the push here for DarkZero. Main breach opened up in snow side for a basement side of G2. And obviously right now for DarkZero, this is probably a really good start for them. And then I say that and cast a curse Pambasu, who dies to Virtue. It's like, oh, good start. Main breach, go second garage as well in terms of the entry point, and then someone dies. Not ideal. Didn't quite see how that happened. I don't know if that was like from a vert, because Pambasu on the buck, you ideally want them up above, opening up those floorboards. I can't imagine he would have just peeked that main breach.
No, I mean, it shouldn't have, right? It's too early in the round, be a little bit too quick, but also sometimes you want to play off pace, right? Catch opponents by surprise. Surely no one's peeking the main breach, right? But Virtue wins out that engagement. He himself had a phenomenal performance so far. The second highest rated player for G2, of course, Benji being the highest. And the thing is, Bolo-wise, roam clearing doesn't have the full picture here, and he doesn't know that there are, in fact, 2 players instead of dining, but it doesn't matter. Doki with 10 kills now shuts down Bolo.
Juno as well gets rid of Canadian, and so far the roam clear from DarkZero hasn't been as effective as they would have liked, and GR trying to shoot out that Nitro Cell does so effectively in the 2 versus 5. So far, G2 have just not really given up much until Uno kind of holds that angle. Good little swing from NJR, and just salvages the round a little bit now in a 2 versus 4. Understanding on a site like this as well, you can create these 1 versus 1s, but you got to probably pick up the pace now, unfortunately, with only 1 minute and 10 seconds left.
I mean, this is a defensive team that says, we do not want you in the building, we don't want you to sit up, we want you to have no space whatsoever, and they're shutting DarkZero out entirely in this round.
Ooh, a little bit of damage from that gas babe, unnecessarily taken from NJR, further making it difficult to swing these corners when you're on such low health. Even just those elbow shots and body shots now will do so much more damage. Flash in towards Boiler, which is, of course, where Alamau is playing. One more gas babe, more time denial. Nafe with a good lurk through blue, though. Not being watched from G2. He's been able to slip in. So suddenly creates the 2 versus 3, and they know that the smoke is inside a Boiler. So that's at least information on one player. The last 2, well, they should know Virtue's on site. 1 unknown.
They could actually go for plant here. Only downside, no smokes in the NGR, no flashes either. So utility-wise, not much to work with. Help-wise for DC, not much either. In G2, they got Doki in the solos. He can see where and when the plant will go down, and he can communicate that to his teammates, and then they can try and isolate on it.
Doki also has those 2 impacts as well that might be needed here and will do a lot of damage. If they can't quite get the angle, throw the impacts in. That will do enough. Of course, with the solos, you can find the planter, calls out the information for Virtue. Nafe's going to get that down, and that's going to be it. Virtue just gets all 3 of them. Obviously, as soon as Doki just pulls out that scanner, it's like,
time.
Hey, they're planting, their time, he's ready, gun up from Virtue, gets the 3 kills in the round, and G2 take a lead here for the first time, really. I mean, they've had 1-round leads, but for the first time, a bit of separation.
Proper lead. I was going to say, this is the first time that a team has won 2 rounds in a row.
Yep.
It's been back and forth, 1-1, or 1-0, 1-1, you know, 1-2, 2-2, etc. And now DC, with this, they will call their tactical timeout, and I think this is a good time. You're 3-5. You just got like the side swap recently. You can talk things through and kind of figure out, okay, what are the problems here? When you pick the map, enemy picks the starting side. We all know that attack on Chalet historically is the stronger side so far, although the current meta is more defender-sided, so it really is a top-up as to where you're going to be stronger.
I think what's interesting as well is the way that G2 are playing. It's very like in-your-face defense, and
yes.
So why would you want to do that against a team that maybe struggles a little bit on entries? 46% for DZ is a whopping 14% less than G2. So G2 are just kind of playing to their strengths right now. They're playing at windows, they're playing at entry points, they're making it very difficult to get into the building, which then means for DZ they don't have as much map control to do that slow-paced gameplay that they like to do.
The same there, Troy saying we gotta make, oh, that's how Bambusu died. We gotta make sure we're on the same page here. And we'll go at the same pace as well because things are falling apart. And I mean, we see it here. They're losing members to really awkward situations. Pamela getting one tap from across the map. You know, Bodo getting swung inside our west main, completely alone, isolated. And it's not like, if you're on a room-click kitchen dining, why not send the guy top floor master bedroom, open the hatch, open the floor if you're Buck, for example, or a Sledge, and then help your roamers clear the map from 2 separate floors.
Yep.
It's very, I would say, like simple style for DarkZero, and G2 are just playing like a level above.
Interesting there at the end there from Virtue. He would have got that call out, plants going down behind the bins, but the pro players at that level, they're not just going to be like, okay, I rush over. They're like, I know there's another guy who's going to help that guy cover plant, so I'm going to try and hunt him down. I know you're coming down 5 play stairs anyway. You'll be able to die. Plant's a really good team play. Virtue then gets the kill in wine. At that point, there's only 1 left, the planter, and he swings over, 3 kills in the round. So really solid round from Virtue. 5-3 lead for G2. You heard it from Canadian. They need to be on the same level, same pace, and have basically the same plan enacted from all 5 members.
I would like to see DarkZero go for maybe like a single round of like really limited or like single or angle bomb site rush basically. Like for example, basement breach, open the main wall, rush in with like a blitz, a glass, etc., and make something happen. Nafe in this round on a bar attack is showing us the blitz gameplay, but Bolo dies early. Lion's not gone from action. They're also playing Brava. They're playing double heartbeat. So while Nafe is quick on the blitz, everything else from DC is screaming a slow take, and they lose their opening player. And Bolo, who's now 1-7. Alamont drops some C's in the chat. G2 are not too impressed with the pace right now.
Yeah, and it's very easy to just look at Bolo 1-7, but in that moment, it's Doki Mudroom. He's the one that's pushing out, being aggressive, going for these little peaks, and that's the difference right now between these two teams, is G2 are happy to play the windows, play the aggressive on entry and entry denial. We saw it back in the first half as well. They were just so rapid in their attacks. What does then Doki do? He just rotates off, plays library stairs. He knows that drones are going to come through. They want to clear him. They want to try and get a bit of this information over towards Mud. He swings back. So they're constantly on the move here, G2, and it's making it so difficult for DarkZero.
And now everyone's kind of standing still, figuring out, okay, what exactly is happening right now, because no one can feel movement from the other side. Nafe will take the shield in his back. Oh my god, no. He put the shield in his back to make less noise, but there is indeed a Frostmat and Goo Mine on the window. Doki swings for another and a third. This Prime Doki with the disrespect.
All you can do is kind of facepalm in that moment. The Voltover, though, does give Pamperzoo a look back into this round. Never over. Minute 15, 2 versus 3. At least a couple of more kills here for DarkZero. They overload the Mud Library Stairs position, but Uno then gets the trade through Barstock, and JR finds one onto Virtue. Spray needed to probably hit there to create the 1 versus 1. Now they know. Oh, good tap from NJR. Creates said 1 versus 1, and suddenly the round is extremely winnable. Okay, NJR salvages the round for DarkZero. That's why it's never over until the end. You never give up. Even after the calamity to start that round for DZ, they brought it back.
NTR is such a solid player. I mean, and I feel like people are sleeping on this guy. He plays like a little bit of support, a little bit of flex, but he is so strong in the entries when he just gets to shine and do his thing. G2, they've been playing this disrespectful style of Siege throughout this entire game so far with great success. It's a good thing for them, but it's shutting down DarkZero. But then you get this 1 versus 3, and there's no trades, there's no refrag, there's nobody playing close together, so they're all swinging 1 by 1. And if you do that against NGR, who's gonna land his shots, you might just lose the round, and they did.
Yeah, and in that sort of round here, again, Doki, okay, he was just kind of hiding in the mud. My goodness, that's so cheeky. But like in this moment as well, what does Doki do again? Re-aggresses, gets the kill. It's a 5-1-3. You think, wow, this is great from G2, from Doki, gets another one, 5-1-2. But eventually they do look to overload that kind of Mud Library position. They have the numbers. NGR just obviously goes off in an individual level to get the 3 kills eventually from that kind of top fireplace stairs position. But clearly, DarkZero, they've been trying something. We didn't quite get to see maybe what they wanted to do with that blitz. No. Well, the blitz went down, obviously, to the Frostmat and the Goo Mine, but nevertheless, a really good round mentally for DarkZero, because I honestly think had they lost that round in that fashion, then they're chasing 3 match points.
Exactly.
That is a real tough pill to swallow.
If you call your timeout, you talk about what you gotta fix, you lose the round like in a really one-sided fashion, there are so many things negatively you can talk about, but if you clutch out like that, you go, guys, that round doesn't matter, we won it, whatever, go next.
Yeah, reset
so
into the 10th
real
round.
big mental win here, like you mentioned. It's so accurate.
So Kitchen and Dining here for the 10th round, a big round. G2 still seeking that match point moment here. Again, a reminder for those maybe just tuning in, this match, this series is to see who can top the group, go straight to the quarterfinals in the playoffs with a lot on the line. Both teams just simply have to win. Doesn't matter if it's in 3 maps or 2 maps. And now an entry for DarkZero. And maybe don't be surprised if this does slow down a little bit, because we know that DZ do like to play a little bit of that slower paced playstyle. They've brought it back to 4-5, bit of that map-wide roam clear. And you can see already on, no early kills. No one's watching these windows. They've got to be a little bit cautious because they know G2's been aggressive.
Yeah. And G2, they play this like big intel game now with both Valkyrie and Solace, 3 C4s in pocket, Capcom and Benja Master, so a bit of a switch up here from G2. Also, they're not swinging the windows anymore the same way as previously, and this might just be, oh, what? I thought this was going to take out Nave, but no, not a single point of damage gets done to him. He stays alive. It could have been a disaster for DarkZero, but to stay up.
Very similar setup to the last time we saw this round, though, where Doki got library control. Nice opening kill for Alamount onto Canadian. They lose the Bees for the remainder of this one. NJR, the hero as well, can't survive anymore. Pamperzoo feeling the pump, but he got the kill back onto Virtue. Keeps it a 3v4. Look at Nave just go forward, though, playing off of the remaining hive launchers that were there from Canadian previously, and that has allowed him to push in from bedroom to closet. A little bit of vert control here for DarkZero. Again, remember, it's Kitchen and Dining. Uno had no idea that Nave just continued forward.
Uno was shot at earlier from Nave from the same position, but they had no idea what was happening around him. Despite the Valkyrie, despite the Soul, despite all this intel from the defensive side, they don't know that Nave pushed through.
It was a big kill on to Doki earlier as well. He was holding top library stairs. That's kind of given now DarkZero full top level control. And so now for Benja and Alamau, it's all about, can they find positions to defend? Alamau still up above inside of Piano is 1 for DarkZero. There's the contact onto Benja down below. So Alamau's the last line of defense now for G2, holding Hatch, maybe trying to see if he can create a couple of 1 versus 1s and then deny plant later in the round. 30 seconds left. He could be good for 1 here and should be onto Bollock. That's Kit as well. Now 2 more to go, and he finds it. It's a quad so far, and now needs the ace to clutch up. Pamperzoo and Alamau both low on health.
One bullet either side, 10 seconds.
remaining.
Getting that plant down. Alamau's got the bomb. The yellow pig as well. It's the ace for Alamau. Are there any words for DarkZero? No, just a wry smile.
immediately into fixing the problem from Uno here. That is good old G2 at their best, where you might have won around with a clutch, but there is recognition that mistakes were made and massive gaps were had. Uno was the player on Solas who died to a backstab with no insult from G2's side. And I will say here, I've been praising Nave every single game that I've cast him so far, when I watch him in the green room as a talent member, but he massively sold the round for his team. You saw him playing that master bedroom hallway, and you heard Alamar make a noise inside of office, and he did not make the call to his team. Guys, watch out if you walk in kitchen door right here. Nave was holding the angle. He knew that Alamar was there. So he's gotta say, guys, walk into dining. It's safe in that position, or don't walk into the primary kitchen door, but the secondary. That was not communicated, and it enables, opens up that clutch for Alamar.
And in that moment as well, Kit goes down, not a great position. So you want to play behind the bomb chassis so he didn't get spotted from the hatch. You know he's got Vert up above, but then there's a Valcam on site watching yellow ping. Easy win for Alamau. 6-4 G2 have certainly had the edge here on Chalet. The map pick of DarkZero are about to take it away. 2 more rounds for DarkZero to send us now to overtime, and they will be kicking themselves, Pengu, because they would have felt they should have won that round. A very good comeback for G2, courtesy of an ace from Alamau. How does this one continue?
Oh boy. It's frustrating, isn't it? So many small details on both sides, you know, defining the rounds here. But individual performance from G2 cannot be underestimated. Alamau, Doki really stepping up here against DC. And on the opposition, it's more of a team effort. 7 kills in JR, 8 Panda, 5 kills in 10 in Nave. No one's really standing out here on the positive side of things. And now if you're DarkZero, your mental, your confidence has got to be a little bit shut off those rounds not going your way. So I wouldn't be surprised if things will go a little bit slower right now. As you see, NJR holding angles, Panda holding angles. No one's really being a playmaker. DC wants like a 5v5 clean round to get closer.
I think that's the natural progression, right? Yeah. Where you kind of feel like maybe there's that pressure will slow it down. But I think for DarkZero, I wouldn't be opposed to maybe just seeing them pick up the pace when it matters on the execute. I'd like to see maybe Pampazu try and get a good lurk position on the Nook, hit site. Yes, they'll do their drone game, especially playing into the shock drones of Canadian, try and clear out some of this utility. But I think DZ have probably, one of the lapses for them has probably been their time factor, and also probably dealing with some of these roam players like Doki, who's 12 and 6. He's been a menace. He's had basically freedom to run around the map. The Canadian really solid in just waiting and watching, knowing G2 like this roam game, especially on basement. They know that Doki's been running around. Let's just hold a good angle on one of the rotate options over towards trophy side, catches him out on the Solas, advantage DZ, although Pampazu is down. Not too sure if he's in a position to get brought back up.
Yeah, it seems like this time that, okay, Doki's always a problem in the late stage of the round, so this time let's shut him down first. Again, no idea if Pamba got injured there. Might have been a C4 from Uno, I imagine, or something like that, because he doesn't have it any longer. And Benji is fishing with a second one as well. So something is up here on the library side of the map, but it doesn't really matter. Pamba's back up, 20 HP, a minute left for DarkZero, and then focus immediately back to that backside. Kitchen, dining, big garage, but Alamau with the extension instead of boiler almost gets shut down immediately, and that's a big moment there for
He's got no more gas pipes either. He's out. He's gone, yeah. So there's only 50 seconds left, sucking towards boiler. It does have the rotate available if he does want to back out of that position, but he holds even low on health, maybe anticipating that DarkZero won't think that he'll still be there when he's got no gas babes and he's low on health. You could probably think he'll fall back to site. He holds the close angle momentarily. 30 seconds left here for the final push here. DarkZero needing to win this round to keep themselves alive on Chalet.
They're rotating again back and forth. DC a bit unsure. They don't know exactly what they want to do here, but they're saying, you know, okay, down the hatch we go. 20 seconds. Smoke goes Canadian first man down perhaps here to start things off for DC.
Who knows? They're thinking towards Mud. Might be a factor late during this round. Keep an eye on that one. Drop down successful. Yes, Virtue took a lot of health damage, but he is still alive. Nice little double swing push in towards Boiler. Canadian towards default opens it up. Can get this play down successfully, but yeah, there is coming in late to deny Ping. Watch play NJR. Really solid team effort. Just has to deny Virtue. Can't from that angle though on the wrong side of the field. 4 versus 1. DarkZero with the plant, and Virtue, as good as he's been, surely not from this position with so low health. No, says NJR. We go another round here on Chalet.
Very impressive attacking round for DC, and you said it perfectly. Slow, methodical back to default, but in the execute, go fast. They're 3-2-1. Old man Troy drops the hatch, opens things up, swings spoiler, gets the kill, immediate on the plan. You're thinking, oh, Uno has the perfect reader with the flank, but no, DC, they cover all their bases. Flank watch, bomb cover. They know there are no C4s there because Pampa got injured earlier from the single C4 that was in the round because Benji died before. So all of a sudden, it's picture perfect for DC, but just one small thing, if they didn't consider it, if they didn't think about it, that would have been Uno stealing the round and the map for G2.
Yeah, Uno was just kind of lurking in towards
So
mud, and then he was going to play off of the hatch to try and deny the plant. That's basically all he had to do here, and then NJR very much, of course, aware of that scenario, that they don't have vert above the hatch in terms of control, so clearly you got to watch that. You don't know where that last play is going to come from. So really, really well worked there from DarkZero, and like you said as well, like, I mean, that slow-paced gameplay, I think it works for DarkZero. We already mentioned it. Yes, they're slow, low on that time of entry, but they are still a very successful attacking team, second in SI24 so far through group. So for them, it clearly works. They have to just back in what works for them, and it kind of goes back even a couple more rounds when Canadians like, we just got to be on the same pace, we got to be on the same play. If you've got one or two that are just offbeat, either too slow or too fast, then that's going to cause disruption to the overall scheme of the attack.
It really is just one big machine working together, and when everyone's working in union like we saw, it is a beautiful thing at work. So now for DarkZero, the plan is the same, I think, and I think the most important thing is not die early to Doki. And maybe even if you really want to target him like individually, try and figure out what orbit is Doki playing, where is he roaming, and maybe try and just hunt him down, because Doki is usually the most, you know, singled out defending player, but even he in this round is closer to the side than on the roam itself. Now unleashing off the Solus, Uno take that duty instead. Maybe Doki's saying, let me try and live a bit longer and stay alive for that long, like in the late rounds instead, because he also has value in those clutch moments when it's like a 3v3.
Deploy was shield blown up over towards the library hallway, was actually facing the interesting direction of towards library stairs rather than towards piano, in the way that G2 kind of wanted to hold this with a bit of that office control, giving up on that one. The Rotero is strong. Doki still holds top library stairs. Information here from Nave with a good drone on the mezzanine chimney, watching in towards Doki with a little bit of sightlines as well towards library. DZ's drone gameplay has been really solid so far in getting information. It's all just about now the execution.
Yeah, I think it comes down to this first opening engagement. If DC can find a kill or just not die themselves, that is the first step towards success for them. And G2, they opted to reinforce the Henshaw library. C4 goes out again, baiting DC in, thinking this is safe, right? No, it's not. A good strike back from Virtue.
That was Canadian that goes down, who had the kit as well on the Hibana. Hatch is still closed, but they do have the secondary hard bridge through Nave, so they can still get library hatch opened up if that's something they feel is a requirement. Oh, bench up misses the initial shot. The Pamperzu will punish that. Trade comes through west main stairs from Uno. Really apt timing, but Pamperzu probably should not have been able to walk away with a kill there, so at least something for DarkZero. 3 versus 3, 60 seconds left.
It's a good trade, and even numbers here. 3-on-3. Hatch gets opened up by Nave for that secondary hard breach. Thankfully for DarkZero, they brought back up in case Canadian would fall like he did. And now it comes down to where is the gap going to be. DarkZero, limited tools, no smokes to the night lines of sight, just 6 flashbangs, but there is a warden from the side of Virtue. Note, G2, no true plant deny, no smokes, no C4s. It comes down to gunplay. They have 4 impacts, but that won't get them much in this round with these current player positions.
Still 30 seconds. Would like to see maybe Bolo get a Rotero towards that big window inside against, clear all of that utility. The barbed wire, the frost mat, they haven't done that, especially if they do want to go for the bolt later in the round as an option. NJR from the mezzanine has yellow ping information, but what an acute angle to try and bind this shot. You've only got 15 seconds. You can't just sit here holding this angle for too long towards Barstock. Yellow ping's up above. Good information, at least for G2, and they are ready for that drop. They are ready for that push from DarkZero. The drop down's not going to work from NJR, and G2 will take Chalet in the end.
I didn't know at any point who was going to take these rounds. I'm thinking 3-3, it's equal numbers, 5-5 equal numbers, but G2, they are so good in the late stages with the player positions. No one's dying to weird angles, no one's really getting caught off guard, and DC not being allowed those openings because G2 refused to move unnecessarily.
All right, well, while we have a break here on the A stream, let's go and have a look and see how the stream B is transpiring.
The bedroom. Additionally, you've got control of library, and you can keep a flank drone over there if you know that there's nobody over there and there's no utility being used over there. So suddenly you've basically got this entire floor at your disposal except for bathroom and solarium, which then Blizz used their utility to take engagements on and won that. It was textbook roam clear and textbook map control by Blizz. And honestly, kudos to them for the way that they played that off. Once you've broken the back of D plus Kia upstairs, at that point, whether you're sitting in kitchen or whether you're sitting in dining, you've got to be wary of that kitchen wall getting opened up by a hard breacher. Bliss didn't open up, but that's okay. You've then got to watch the doorway. You've got to be worried about trophy stairs because now you've lost control of Solarium. And then things just go very bad for you in a hurry because unlike a lot of other bomb sites, there's really no way out of that kitchen dining bomb site once you've lost control of above and the peripherals. So Bliss play that very well. They grab the lead. And we'll go back to the very first bomb site we saw, Guz, which is downstairs.
Just didn't quite go the way of Bliss last time around.
No, it certainly didn't, you know.
A little bit.
It was bad. I think it was kind of bad. I don't know if you watched, but the attack that they had was not great.
Not amazing. Well, Soldier attempts the bandit trick on the wall. It does not land, so some good util game there from both Fish and Wet on the Thermite and the Thatcher, respectively. You now see Bliss probably rotate over towards Wine to try and split this push. As coupon approach. I don't know if Bliss are necessarily going to lean into a heavy vert play, and I know it's something that we've been commenting on a little bit throughout the first quarter of this particular match, that they're electing not to play the buck or the sledge. But I'd probably make the argument that it's not particularly necessary, and maybe I'll overcomplicate the push, which for Bliss locally in OS can sometimes be a bit of an issue against weaker opponents where they overcomplicate things and their own demise. Minute 45 though on the clock, a bit of a roam being employed here from D plus Kia at the moment. But the Jackal is in play for Bliss, so they should be able to get a read on this and force them back.
I mean, hey, if you can't get coated from his roam, you might as well bring a Jackal onto the board. Look at the operator bans, the Lion banned out by D plus Kia, so that's one of the globals that Bliss won't have available, but obviously the Dokkaebi is not a terrible decision either. Just as we saw in round number 1, D plus Kia will get the lead off pick. Brendo dies, and it was a hard breach that died early, if you recall, back in round number 1 as well. It's not a good situation when you don't find yourself in a good situation when you lose one of your hard breachers first. You have to wonder why somebody like Brendo or Fisho Guy are even in positions to die first.
Yes, not even my bias can cover that fault from Bliss. Big mistake from them here in
Thank you for having some integrity here. I appreciate that.
Integrity.
Integrity.
Are we allowed to talk about that particular show on this broadcast? Probably not.
Probably not.
Well, 30 seconds. Thatcher still in play. Fisher does have an exothermic, so they could route one. The back push here through Wine's cellar. I will say yes, being on top floor could pose a bit of a threat and flank potential. Oda is in position to maybe contest. Instead, though, now over towards the dining hatch, and Bliss will need to Hail Mary this final play.
I don't know what Oda is exactly looking at. There you go. You'll drop. Blue is clear. Down goes Soldier. Wettables, you said, always good for more than one kill. Finds 2 so far. Oda on the board as well, but there's D-Mally to retake from main stairs. Wettables finds 3 kills. So here's your win con if you're Bliss. Wettables gets a 3K. Then you win the round. Very simple stuff.
Yeah, I suppose so. Which is pretty interesting, right? Because you look at Wet obviously joining this roster not all that long ago in replacement of Jigsaw. There was a lot of discussion at the time as to whether or not that would be a worthy replacement, considering that he didn't have a lot of big experience in big teams locally. However, he has clearly shown up a 0.95 rating at Atlanta. Not horrible for an international debut.
I think
he's breaking out nicely at the moment.
I think a 0.95 rating is pretty good for a lot of players in his particular position, especially.
That would have put him second on the team. So.
I mean, like, OS is really hard to quantify, and I mean, obviously you call it OS. A lot of us as casters call it ANZ.
ANZ.
And I'm not American. I don't say Z. I say it like the entire rest of the world.
Wait, you're not American? I thought.
Believe it or not.
North American?
I mean, technically, are Brazilians Americans? Because this is South America. I'd imagine if you were from New Zealand and somebody called you Australian, you would feel the same way that I do when somebody calls me American. You are from the America of APAC. How does that feel? And the UK is America of Europe.
Ooh.
No, the UK doesn't really want to be a part of Europe anymore, but we don't need to get into that, eh? Brexit means Brexit. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oi, bruv. Oi, bruv, we're gonna leave Europe.
I've already had to cast him. Des, I
I'm so
Don't need to experience that.
I'm
again.
very sorry.
Don't need to relive that.
Yeah.
Well then, into round number 5 we go, and it's bar this time around.
Have you noticed that the it's almost like a sage green behind Sage on the backdrop? You notice that? It's just a small little thing. Just a small little thing. Same lineup, or at least very close to the same lineup that Bliss brought this previous execute when they wanted to pull off a bar gaming take. Looks like the D+ Kia rotations for this map will exclude the upstairs bomb site as they've gone to garage, then bar gaming, then kitchen. Now they've gone to garage, bar gaming. They still have time to make a change for this final round. Red Bulls only has a single one of those logic bombs remaining. How he will use it is anybody's guess. I think he's probably going to call them, and then everybody's phone is going to make noise.
And then get a multi-kill.
And then get a multi-kill. I think that is absolutely correct. Do you have on your... Are you in the fantasy league that Jesse has made?
We don't talk about that.
So you are. You're probably doing
I'm in
very
it. I
poorly.
wouldn't say I'm competitive. I think I'm dead last at the moment. And I don't have any of these players in my team.
I was going to say, Wettable seems like a pretty solid bet so far. Multi-kills. Anyway. Half of the round gone. A very sluggish round so far. Bliss were much better at getting information on the defenders and then using that to their advantage the last time they attacked this bomb site. So D+ Kia obviously finding ways around that drone work and entry to stop Bliss in their tracks.
Again, a lack of explosives here. Brendo does have the 2 Ash charges, but that...
Welcome back to the A stream, where G2 has just had a great and phenomenal performance against DarkZero on DarkZero's map pick. They get that first one in the bag, and so far they're running pretty standard with their 2-0 wins.
Yeah, they've already got the first map under their belt. Now they just need to make sure that they can lock out the second one. But as soon as the game was over, all of DZ instantly grouped up, huddled behind. They didn't even take time to walk outside or side, just took a moment, started talking about the next map. So they're still locked in it.
I mean, I'd imagine so. It was so close to it being overtime, or you know, they were looking pretty dominant. It was pretty solid in the first half of the game. It's just unfortunately when they went over to their attacks that it really didn't go their way. But of course, you know, it being so close, that means there's definitely an opportunity for them to come back on the second map.
Yeah, 7-5, definitely not what we've seen earlier today in some of our games, a closer one. But when we were looking at the start of this game particularly, it was flawless from both of these teams, where neither one really wanted to give up either one of their advantages.
I think specific stat to look at is Bolo hasn't been in the game for, you know, a little bit of time, but he hasn't let that stop him.
Are you flaming already?
No, I'm not flaming. I'm saying it hasn't let him stop him in the tournament, but I think when you play against a caliber of team like G2, obviously there's going to be a little bit of rust to it. He started working up towards the end. I mean, he only got 3 kills, but if the trend follows going into the next map, he might be the top frag.
I think if you look at the stats on the other side, comparing similar players, maybe someone that was really active in that opening part of the game, in my opinion, has to be Doki. He was getting active, he was making sure there was a bit of that surprise factor. I think this especially was happening on G2's own defenses, where sometimes these players of DarkZero weren't really ready to be swung yet by a player from G2, but it was happening. They were getting swung. Some massive clutches and personal performance as well, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But yeah, a very close game, which should set us up for a very good second map.
I'm glad you brought that up, because there was so many rounds where the defense, G2 would specifically reinforce their defensive roam, having 3-4 people off the site to cause confusion to DarkZero's clears, just so that they can take advantage of the roam clear. And there was a lot of times where they were pretty much uncontested. They would miss a potential roamer just because there was so many people off the site.
And the beautiful ace coming through as well from the side of G2, Alamo. But when we're looking at this game, besides the fact that it was flawless at the start, besides the fact that people are screaming a lot, also clutches were a pretty big percentage of this one.
Yeah, we talked about, in front of this game, we talked about the support stuff, especially on the side of DarkZero really stepping up. I feel like sometimes it might be a little bit skewed, whereas they're getting really the kills in, the entries in, whereas the entries are falling behind a little bit. But a really good moment to show that was the clutch that NJR had in round 9. That was really impressive, in my opinion. It really looked like they were about to lose that round. That second kill, by the way, absolutely amazing. It takes them a little while to get it from the main stairs here, but it just shows that on the side of DarkZero, we're definitely seeing players like NJR and Nave step up. But with the operators that are playing, you're not expecting it from them so much.
If you can get them in that position, more often than not, they'll be able to capitalize on it. They obviously, their stats are showing it, their in-game performance are showing it, but it's getting to that performance. Most of the early rounds were very flawless, one-sided wins, back and forth, and only came down to the last little bit of rounds where G2 was able to just slide ahead. So DarkZero needs to try to equalize that just to make sure that they're staying alive, I guess, further into the rounds and putting their supports back into those positions.
Yeah, something else that you touched upon a little bit before we got onto the desk was the fact that on the roams, G2 were not the easiest ones to lock down.
No, they weren't at all. I mean, they were pretty much playing. I don't want to use the word.
You're good?
I was thinking of critters. You know, I didn't want to use the word rats, but they are playing so aggressively on the roam. It's very hard to keep track of them, especially on attack too. They're really trying to isolate the different types of roams that DZ are playing because they know that DZ is a lot more of a structured team and they're going to fall back, and that's what puts their support players in those clutch positions. So that's what they tried to focus on.
A really good example of that was that ace that LMAO got, whereas he was standing in office and his teammate got shot in the little closet of master bedroom, and he just did not respond to that at all. Just staying passive, making sure that if nobody hears me, I'm going to be able to stand here for a little while. I'm going to be able to, you know, keep my position unknown. As you mentioned, it's really difficult to keep track of them, and from there on was able to get a nice little 1v3, especially with the information they had as well.
I love how he fell all the way back, fell into office. His teammate reinforced the wall, and I don't know if it was miscommunication, but there wasn't any call on a guy potentially coming master. Whoever died inside of office died, but Alamau was completely hidden right until the end, and he obviously won the 1v3 at the end.
Yeah, and we were looking at Alamo particularly from the side of G2, but even when we're looking at DarkZero, they have also had their incredible players that were stepping up. We've had Nave that we highlighted at the beginning as well, in terms of what we can be expecting from him, being that support player, being one of the highest rated players on the team. So going on to the second map, which will be Club, G2's map pick. When it comes to DarkZero and how they're currently performing, what are you expecting moving forward?
I think Club is a map that takes a lot of time early to prep. I'd expect a lot of early aggressive roams by G2, obviously, but on the side of DarkZero, I think they will try to maybe switch it up a little bit from Chalet, go back into the turtle type playstyle, make G2 focus on executing, focus on finding those kills, not extending too much on the roam and losing people potentially to just, again, the rodent rat scurrying around behavior.
All right, and with that, we're ready to head into Club, our second map of the series. G2-0 has been something that we've been seeing the entirety of the group stage, but will that continue? Let's find out as we head over to their map pick.
I don't know about rats and worms, Fox, but I do know we've got another banging map coming our way. To Clubhouse we go very shortly. G2, of course, 1-0 up in this series, and now one map away from securing the group.
Oh yeah, they're getting close, and you and I are fearing a little bit here for DarkZero because like G2 been hiding a lot of map pools so far for this tournament, and they pick Clubhouse. This could be the end for DC, at least in terms of getting that first spot.
Could be, could also be an opportunity for them to bounce back here on Clubhouse, and kind of like Fox was saying outside of the worms, is that they have this opportunity on a very defensive side of the map to maybe play into that kind of turtle gameplay that might actually benefit them. The other part of the equation is for G2, Clubhouse is not a map we really see them play all that often either, so it really comes down to the level of workshop ability that they've put into it.
Yeah, but that's what G2 they tend to shine. Their support staff, they're great at counter-strateging and kind of tailoring things to how the team likes to operate in terms of operators and playstyle and positions. LMAO with more Cs because DC, despite what their opponent they're playing, what map they're playing, they will tend to ban just the same operators. There's no flexibility here.
Interesting. So Montaigne gets banned out. That does kind of leave like a Ying on the board, for example. Montaigne can be very much influential on a map like Club. And the Castles, so clearly they're cooking. They are cooking something here, Pengu.
He's saying ban Asami, go. And it's like the mental game, right? Taunting that. We know you're going to ban Dokkaebi Asami every single game. Go do it again. And there it is. This is just G2 showing that DarkZero are a very predictable team. Okay, But it's true. I mean, at the highest level of play, we do expect teams to tailor their operator bans. But at the same time, if you are a new roster, 2 new players going to the biggest event of the year, I would believe, as a former player myself, that you want to just make sure that you can play a stable game of Siege. And if that means removing the same 2 operators, Dokkaebi and Asami, you can just work with that scenario every single time. And then, of course, whatever the opponent bans, you gotta adapt to, but at least you know from your side what the game will look like.
You guys at home didn't quite get to see it, but Doki said it calls you a bot, fair enough, so you're in border. So maybe not full confidence there for Doki as G2, of course, win this, and we don't get to see it. We head into the first round. DarkZero will be on the defense first to begin with. Rather conventional looking lineup. Bring the Kaid, obviously electrify those hatches, but Thatcher is available if wanted, if desired, to obviously aid in opening up those hatches. Ying, as I mentioned, did not get banned out, so it means that for Alamau, straight onto it, really good execute heavy operator.
Yeah, and as Fox kind of touched upon it, but Clubhouse is a map, you know, unlike Chalet, where it often will come down to executing, getting down the diffuser and just playing your 1-2-3s. That is pretty much what Clubhouse is summarized as in most competitive games. But given how Chalet played out, I could see a world where both teams just go fight each other on the roam, hunt down those roam players, and maybe even more often than not, the game, or the rounds rather, will be decided by the roam game itself, who can shut down the roaming or who can shut down the entries.
Yeah, very curious to see, because obviously what we were listening to Fox say on the analyst desk earlier was that turtle gameplay that DarkZero might opt to bring and play here on Clubhouse, especially defense. You think about Church Arsenal, the way teams may look to contest this defensively. Yeah, sometimes they do go for a bit of that roam up above, but other times, and for probably the most part, you will see that large spread of 5-stack on site, holding turret, holding blue, holding the site, and all of those rotate entries in. So I think right now, from what I can see in the top-down view here, it looks like that will be the case.
Definitely. It looked like maybe a bit of an early roam there from DC, but no, they're just looking for a drone and maybe trying to give G2 the impression that they might have some presence elsewhere, but they don't. It will be a 5-man turtle. Womite is coming out, denying those utility pieces, but grenades can't be cooked any longer. You don't have to worry about grenades, but more so the capital fire arrows from Uno, and of course the Candelas from Alamau on the Ying. And G2, they brought a very consistent lineup. They got soft breach, they got hatch breaching and wall breaching. Instead of playing Thatcher and hard breach, just play out the Maverick. They can do it both.
Virtue with the opening kill onto Nave. Nicely done through stock. Interesting that they've used those Kaid claws, not on the hatches, but of course on triple church wall. Makes it more difficult to open up. Secondaries are available. Hello, Doki. That's straight in towards side. Does get one eventually traded by Pampersu, but again, it's that fast-paced G2 execute style gameplay that we're seeing. As soon as they got a bit of that stock control, opened up the hatches, just drop down, everyone push onto the side. Similarities immediately from Chalet here, even onto Clubhouse, and even on a very defensive-sided site of Church Arsenal Club, G2 make it work.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say, where, yeah, you know, Clubhouse is this really structured, slow, methodical ABC map, but given how Chalet played out, I'm not sure that's gonna happen. But I love this off-pace play from G2. They're really catching DarkZero by surprise time and time again, because if you're in DarkZero right now, I'll tell you what that happens. The guy in church will say, oh, the MP church wall. Oh, they're acing the church wall. Guys, this is going to be a church-oriented attack. But as he says that, they're in Morador. They get the opening kill. The blue guy on the fire gets flanked from blue staircase and from the hatch itself. Everything falls apart immediately. And if you're DarkZero, with your communication, you have no idea what the actual attack is looking like right now, because everything is on the fire.
I mean, you could just simplify it there with that highlight from Virtue. Yeah. 3K entry, first one initially, because Nave does swing and check that hatch. He gets that kill, opens up position. He then takes it and just snowballs. And snowballed he went until he found 3, got full blue control, and at that point, all that defense and trying to keep that triple wall closed is irrelevant. Round's over at that point, and DarkZero succumb immediately, and they go straight away out of basement towards Cash and CCTV here for the second round.
Change it up, and I love the fact here that they're willing to go to CCTV, play more utility, mirror windows, bandit, Kai claws, etc. It's all utility players, even Injera on the Maestro, but G2, they're equally good at this. Virtue probably going to be on Maverick almost every single attacking round, because with Kite available, you just want to bring out a Maverick to guarantee any wall or hatch to get open that you might need. And because Maverick is being actively in play from G2, it means that there's no problem they cannot solve, at least around the hard breaches. And that is the first step on most attack rounds at Clubhouse. And G2, all they need, like in that last round, is the first step. Then they just explode off of that.
It's also a very weakened drafters here. Again, with that Azami ban, but more importantly, there's also no catch either in terms of defense for DarkZero. So it's kind of a very lonely position to be holding right now. I think it's Bolo on the Kaid. He's just holding that spot by himself. So unfortunately there for DarkZero, that is definitely a bit of a weak spot, but they've brought it themselves, so they will understand that. G2 though going immediately for a bit of a roam, as they do obviously have Virtue on the Maverick to get through a lot of this electrified wall and deal with Nave, who's playing the Bandit. A little bit slower here from G2, but that's okay, because we've seen already from them, it might be slow for the first 30-40 seconds, but once they go, they don't stop.
Yeah. Also mind that DarkZero played this map against NIP in the first opening day, and if G2 watched that lot, which they definitely did, they know Clean always flanks in the basement, up the blue staircase, the main staircase, and they are ready for this. And again, the perfect catch. This is the prep work coming in from G2. They saw it against NIP, it's happening again here, and they're saying, you are predictable, we will counter.
Canadian gone again early. Just under 90 seconds left. NJ are really hoping he can find something from the vert down below, but no, nothing to be found. I think at this point, Pambasu thinking, all right, might have to be just run out time, jump out time. Oh, an opportunity. He did get spotted, and that now makes it a little bit more difficult to try and catch that player on the rappel outside of Kendall's. Double kill, though, comes the way. Trade, 3 versus 4, still advantage in towards Garage, though. The trade again. Pambasu expecting the entry. Nicely done. Does now fortify that Garage position and gives DZ the advantage.
Yeah, meet aggression with more aggression, but do better in that case. And Pambasu knows there's a risk here. Crossing the door and the boiler will make a rotate and go elsewhere. What this means, though, is G2, they have about 20 seconds now of time, or it's a 2v2 instead of a 2v3, but they don't have the fuse kit, they're not near the bomb site, so they can't necessarily act upon this, so things will stabilize with DC on the attacking side. They'll get those angles lined up with the crossfires and just play a nice, stable round for this end game.
Doki getting good position. Rafters under 30 seconds left. Alamar will grab that kit. Where does he take it, though? He can't really go up red. Surely still barbed wire. Pambasu over towards main with a very long rotate. Doki's at least got... He is going up red, Alamar. He's forcing it. He's going to take on the battle with Nate. Even though he's half white, he still wins it anyway. Good position. Place the mirror window in towards Cash. Tries to get the kill onto Con. Could plant towards Reed, but guess what? Pambazu's outside the building. Gets the kill. Double again. 4 in the round for Pambasu. Massive individual effort in that round for DZ to get the round win.
There's a reason why the saying is it's Panda party time, because when this man shows up, it is always with a phenomenal look. It is clear play, it is aggression, it is confidence, and it is pretty much flawless in that round. Doki on Chalet was always an enemy's face, but now it's Panda saying enough is enough. I might be playing a slow operator, but I can still go fast.
Yeah, and pretty much had to, and I think did so at the earlier part in that Garage push, understanding that's the weak area. We don't really have a very strong Rafters hold. G2 eventually going to look to overload that position. Look at that early kill from Doki. I mean, what can Canadian really do? There's the push, though, from Pamba. Kit is over on this side. Double kill, gets the entry. They know they lost the Rafters position, so what do? You want to come back, try and fortify. Eventually then plays outside CC window, goes prone. I mean, nothing you can do there. Really solid effort from Pamba. Wins the round for DZ, and they really do need those kind of rounds for the mental.
You do. Sometimes a round might look lost strategically or structurally, but a clutch is always possible. Both of these two rosters are so capable of stepping up in those moments when they present themselves. The Dusk spoke about it, we spoke about it. The only thing we haven't seen much is really Bolo. On Chalet, he was like 2 or 3 to like something like 7-9 this, whatever. I want to see a bit more here from him, right? A big pickup from him and Nave. And Nave certainly has proved himself in this series and series past, but Bolo just before this series ends, gotta have his moment as well.
It's interesting you say that, because I think internally DarkZero would probably just say play your role, play within the team anyway. Don't worry. If you go 3-10 and we win the game, it doesn't really matter.
It's true.
And so then it relieves a bit of that pressure. Obviously, there's a lot of eyes on Bolo and what he's going to be able to bring to this roster, but just play within the team. And we heard Canadian back on Chalet. Everyone needs to be on the same page, same pacing, play your role.
Of course, sometimes your role is just a drone, hold angles, and sometimes you end up in a 1v5 saying, guys, I'm not going to get a kill here. Like, you know that, I know that, but it is what it is. And I know some people are going to say, Bolo's going to play Ash, you know, entry, going to get 20 kills a game. Like, no, that's not the case right now. Nobody's doing that. He is playing that flex supportive role.
Not in this meta.
Not this meta. No, not at all. And what this might be one of the slowest rounds on Clubhouse so far. It is a basement attack, of course. And we see DC, all 5 members primed and ready downstairs. A lot of plant deny here, both the echo and the smoke.
Same setup though from G2. Bring Virtue on that Maverick, open up stock. This time around though, surely Nath has learned his lesson. You're playing that Warden too. You don't really need to peek that down below into the hatch. You want to play on-site anchor, use those glasses late round for the execute, especially against the Candelas of the Ying. So really paramount that Nath stays alive here. He's a big win condition for DarkZero.
Well, it's absolutely. And I think Clubhouse all comes down to if you are a good attacking team, you can win the attacking rounds, no matter how favorable the defensive side is. If you can solve the problems in front of you, and there are so many ways to do it on Clubhouse. That's why it's a beautiful map. There's a lot of operation you can flex between, a lot of different ways to approach the map from here. Got 3 different hatches, 2 staircases, you know, garage flank as well. It all comes down to G2's in-game leading skills right now and problem solving. Where do they want to strike and how do they want to do it?
Got a bit of main stairs pressure as well from G2. No real flank options for DarkZero. It's firmly on-site defense. Can work, especially when you're playing into the Echo ward and mirror combo, as even more so with the smoke. That's the lineup they brought that is going to help them in this situation. Uno now with the incendiaries to open up that generator position inside of blue. That is an angle and a half. Oh, it's not even an angle, it's a pixel from Nave onto Virtue. And then JR as well. Gets rid of Doki coming from main stairs. Alamau can't find anything from this position of triple in towards Church. Drop down from Benja. No real opportunity in the 2 versus 5. Kit is over towards secret side of blue. That is going to be very difficult to retrieve. They've lost Benja. It's only Alamau on a 1 versus 5. An ace he's already had in the series, but not from a position such as this. And DarkZero should be getting their second round here on Clubhouse.
Come on, Carl, do something. He's in chat, holding an angle, waiting for DC to approach. There's 10 seconds left. We all know this round is over. This round is done.
He just wants them to rush into him, maybe pad the stats a little bit, time to run out. Talk about the discipline here, though, from DarkZero. Yes. It doesn't seem like much, but the fact that they're not just running at him as 4, as 5. We've all played Siege before. We all know what it's like. We've seen teams throw away good positions because they go chasing for that final kill because you think you've got the numbers. It'll be fine. We'll overload him, but just discipline. Hold your angles. We don't have to go and chase him. This is SI. Who cares? It's 1 kill. He can't win the round.
That's exactly it. Gotta keep it disciplined till the very end. And the opening kills, of course, here very important, either shutting down G2's offense or just getting run over. And this time it was DC with 2 kills before anything really happened here. Nave with a nice pixel to shut down Virtue, who got the 3K last time in his basement attack. And even after that, still swings the hatch with the smart glasses on, knows the smoke won't land.
Yeah, but the difference that time, at least from Nave, whereas last time he kind of pushed under the hatch to check it, this time he's kind of body checking it and then unpeaking, and so it's a little safer, get the information. They never saw him, he then swings back, gets the kill. Really nicely done from Nave, and a big difference in that round from the opening round of basement, and I think a reason why they were able to win that. You saw Virtue again, that lurk through pit in towards blue. Last time he got a 3K. Why? Because DarkZero were peeking and probably not playing the angles as correctly. Instead, Nave, a little bit more defensive, hold the acute angle, gets a couple kills, and it really then solidifies that position.
I will say that despite G2 losing that round, I actually really liked what they were doing because they're applying all this phantom pressure. What I mean by that is that they're opening up all the hatches, all the lines of sight, Church triple sprees as well. It's very hard as a defender. We all know that if you play Siege and Ranked, etc. When everything's opened up, you don't have like a Valkyrie for intel. Where is the enemy actually at, right? Because there are so many options, so many possibilities. It's hard to make the right assumptions, but Nave really had that locked in, guessing 2 out of 2 correctly and getting 2 out of 2 kills. But now, of course, when you win the bomb site, it's locked. You gotta go elsewhere and find success on a different bomb site. And this time, they will not go to CCTV. They're going to gym defense instead, with an extension towards the cash CC side.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Gym bedroom, certainly a site that many would probably have as second in their rotation. Obviously not the case here for DarkZero, having already gone to cash and CCTV. Venture to open up Jacuzzi wall with the exothermic charge, and he's also got Alamau here on the Glaz. Curious to see what this will play like. They've got a couple of smokes. The Glaz himself, and of course the Ying too, has 2 in pocket. Open breach, easily done at Jacuzzi. They haven't gone for the full map wide open where you get Jacuzzi and Kennels, but they have got that single wall opened up over towards Con.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what the angle is here. It's like 1 or 2 people on the roof, just on the office hatch, lurking about. Mostly rotate to a CCTV side. So again, G2 are doing things in like a bit of a different rotation here. You'd think, okay, CC wall goes first, then you go Jacuzzi.
Different order.
Exactly, the order is different here from them. And again, they're keeping DarkZero guessing as to when are they going to do it and what are they exactly going to do. We know because we see all the operators that Glass is going to be the main pushing force on the attacking side, but we don't yet know where they're going to enter from and where they're going to try and plant.
The biggest question for me is Pambazoo. Has he been droned out? Because guess what? Look at that Pengu, top right. There's only 1 drone left, so a lot of those have been denied. Canadian on the solos doing his job, you would imagine. Pamba knows there's one on the balcony because noise has been made by Benja. He's basically tried to bait him out. A couple of shots, look towards CC window, anticipating. So whether he actually knows Pamba's there or not, I'm not too sure again because we haven't really got a lot of drones on the field for G2.
Yeah, it's going to be smoke, seeing Candelas out, execute from G2 with 60 seconds to go. It's going to be explosive.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. The G2 typically go, they don't stop. There's going to be the drop down into logistics, but DarkZero are ready and waiting. Good positions again on site, similar to basement. Good win from Uno, coming from logistics drop, and Alamau 1 out on the Glaz with those smokes, and 2 more still available from said Uno with that Ying. Candelas to also go, so good utility from G2 on the push into site, and they've got good positions. Alamau holding main stairs, but Canadian's a big win condition on the solos. He can deny plant.
2 below. C4 and Solar Scanner, so they get side control now, but DC, they're playing from below. Pampa C4 missed it, so now Plant Deny might not happen from downstairs.
And Doki's watching that hatch. The Canadian knows he has to go back. Why doesn't matter. Pampa clean straight through said wire. Uno to get the player down. Canadian got the kill as well onto Doki, who was watching the hatch. Uno drops down below. That's the only thing he can really do now. And for the 1-on-2 retake in favor of DarkZero. Left side, right side, hard to know. But Uno, no information here. Besides the shots now, he knows there's one to the left. DarkZero don't have to rush this and talk about the long arm of the law behind the bomb chassis. I don't think Uno's going to be able to get the angle, and Bambazu was sneaking from behind anyway as the secondary, but it did not matter because I honestly think he couldn't get that angle.
Yeah, I mean, that is just a ridiculous retake from DC where they have an immediate response to the problem. They say, okay, let's give them the bomb site. Nave and stuck inside a bathroom. Pampa, come downstairs with me. I'm Solus. I'm going to show you where they plan. You throw a C4, you get the kill. Okay, G2, don't start planning immediately. So Pampa will throw the C4 quicker and run up the staircase. Try up the other staircase and try and retake the set itself, and they win their individual 1v1s. They get back together and they go for that 2v1 swing and they get things done. A good win here from DC.
Yeah, and I did pose that question earlier in the round. Did they know that Pampa was still lurking inside a CCTV? There was only one drone available for G2. Don't know how many of those were at the hands of Canadian, but nevertheless, in the end, Benja was watching, waiting. At some point, though, when you're playing that balcony position and when the push does eventually come through from logistics, from Jacuzzi, you need to be helping out on site. That means he turns his attention away from CC. Easily done from Pampa, free kill, and then he can actually rotate in con side if he wants to. Really solid defensive half here from DarkZero right now. G2 tried to play that game again where they go fast, they fully commit, and for the most part, it actually wasn't that bad. They were able to get through logistics, got the plant down in towards Jim. It just came down to a 1v2 retake.
It really is. Now, if you're getting worried for G2 right now, there are statistics here that say you shouldn't. Clubhouse is a 66% defensive win rate so far in terms of favors, so we can say that this might be statistically the expected outcome. But looking at the rounds, they've been very close, very back and forth. Panda had a big moment where he clutched around single-handedly. Last round, a 2v2 or 2v3 with DC as well. So, yeah, sure, statistics is one thing, but performance in the server is ultimately the defining factor.
Bolo over towards Rafters. Again, it's not really a Rafters position that's overly defensive, although this time they've got the Wamai through Pambazu, so you can get those Magdits over to just help. There's Virtue trying to get open this main breach in the old conventional way of the Maverick, open it up and then softball, but it's Doki watching as well on the Brava, has those clutch drones available. Only one left is what I can see. Not sure how he's used those so early on. Regardless though, for G2, primary focus here is to maybe see if they can catch anyone out over towards the red side. Of course, there's no bandit in play, and Doki does get the kill onto Nave. So really nicely executed there from G2. Had a plan. Plan comes to fruition. Still a bit of that red stance control. And the swing in response there from Pambazu. Was that necessary? Uno watching.
What's active?
No, I mean, they know Master Bedroom Default hasn't been shot, so they have to assume there's a lot of people outside Garage and CCTV breach. When your Maverick can open a wall and nothing else is happening, there's no way you think there's no cover, so DC, they're throwing their bodies away this round.
Yeah, they certainly are. Credit, though, to G2. Certainly more of a playstyle-centric round from them rather than that super rush-heavy style. NGR tries to contest. Bolo's up in flames. A round, though, up in flames for DarkZero. That was exquisite from G2.
It was. I mean, you know, we all have been here where you go CCTV, it's not a great bomb site per se, and if the enemy has the right response, like, for example, like Campbell's off a catwalk, and Merrick for the main breach, you're thinking strategically, this round is falling apart. We need to try and go for kills, but I'm not really entirely sure about that circumstance for DarkZero. They still had 3 Toxic Babes, they had a C4, they had Evil Eyes, and they hadn't lost carriage control yet. They could have surely sat for a little bit longer there before throwing bodies into a breach that wasn't even open.
I think it's a case in that moment of maybe not trusting the utility that you have, right? Because you're kind of just looking at it as like, oh, we've lost one. Okay, the main breach gets a nice kill, opens it up 5 versus 4. Lovely little play. The response then is to like, okay, can we trade off that? Because they've got extra players there, I'll run out Garage, see if I can get one, run back in. But what that then does is it snowballs in the opposite direction. Suddenly then it's a 5-on-3. Then you've got like NJR at that point inside of CCTVs thinking, well, I may as well take the fight and see if I can get a couple of kills here, because otherwise now the utility is not going to be as effective. Big round for G2, probably, I mean, par for the course. You mentioned, what was it, 66% defensive win rate. So I think, you know, 2-4 in favor of DarkZero, if that does eventuate, as of course Basement has unlocked again, is probably the pass mark for both teams.
Yeah, no, that is really it. Very important round for both teams, of course, to get on the right side of the scoreboard here. And a 3-3 half just means that it's very much a tight game, just like on Chalet. And it will come down to how good are you on the attacking side? How good are you at problem solving these difficult rounds with the current utility meta that we might see with, you know, something like the Fenris, the Asamis, who's currently banned on this map. But for what it has been on Clubhouse so far, it's not been all that much of those power cube operators. Solo's only played 2 rounds from DC so far. It's more been about the Warden, the Mirror, and of course C4 and smokes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think also versatility. We've seen a lot of this Capitao in play too, and either can bring the secondary hard breaches or the secondary EMPs. The incendiaries are really good at clearing out positions, the smokes as well. So we're really seeing that be utilized by G2. It's been super successful. The Maverick as well from Virtue, we've seen open up stock hatch and then push down himself, so he's able to then play kind of solo. We do see the Jackal clear as well up above from G2, so definitely just being a bit more checklisty in this particular round, but that's pretty much been the case for them here on Clubhouse so far. They're not really doing anything unconventional. When they go fast, and we've seen that, and that sort of execute heavy play style, but they still do everything else necessary before that.
Yeah, we saw this time that G2 did not get a flying drone inside a master bedroom in the prep phase, and there were jammers denied information. So they're thinking, okay, they might actually go for a roam this time. Let's attack a repeat onto the Jackal so that in case they're roaming, we can find them and get those kills. Well, turns out DarkZero, they played that mind game successfully, because now you force somebody onto an operator solely for the roam clear, but there is no roam clear to be had. So G2 getting less value out of their operator lineup. Or what are they missing now? No Ying in play. It's just the Capitao and regular good old gun operators to secure this round for G2. And it is that 3-3 or 4-2 half. So this is a great mind game play from DC.
Yeah, again, defensively for DarkZero, playing out of dirt, playing deep in the backside of Arsenal, right? So they're not really going for that roam or looking really for any kind of pressure. We're not seeing anyone push main stairs, go for these peaks up above, try and maybe get someone off guard over towards Kitchen. They are very much firmly sitting sight and waiting for G2 to push them. That's fine, but G2 have already shown so much proficiency, not just in this map, but really in this series, in being able to clear out these positions. You want to contest, you want to make it difficult to come down this hatch, but every time you peek, you don't know what you're going to be looking at, and Virtue gets aggressive. Proxy alarm gives, how does he not die to that? Turns around for the proxy, but Bambazu just wasn't ready for it on the backside of the generator, and that's the smoke now gone. 30 seconds opens up a pathway for G2.
Such a great play. Get the mirror in the walk down staircase, get that kill, but also attack Church at the same time. But G2 are everywhere right now.
Who's watching wall? Who's watching triple here? This is
no one.
Free push in for Doki. They're so concerned for the blue push, which is what G2 have shown pretty much every other time on this particular site. That Doki's just walked straight in, gets the plant down. They can watch that from main stairs. G2 have just slaughtered DarkZero offensively in this round. Doki with a double. It's only Canadian just left. How has he gone from dirt up towards Kitchen? I got no idea. Nevertheless, though, G2 are about to make it 3-3 as Canadian gets shut down by Uno. What a sensational round from G2.
Do you know what I did? That's such a classic Uno phrase. I used to hear that all the time. He wants to say, I did a good job here, listen to me. But strategically, what G2 did in that final attacking round was basically, that began in the very first opening round where they attacked blue on the very first opening basement attack. 2 rounds later, they attack basement again. They also go for a mostly blue-oriented take. 3rd time comes around, they fake the blue take, but with full commitment, because Virtue, he gets down, he gets the kill, and he stays in that area. But this time around, it's a 3-man church take instead. So they're completely in DarkZero's head. And the thing is, because there's no intel operators this time around, like a Maestro, an Echo, or a Valkyrie, DC have to again make assumptions. Okay, Virtue's down blue, it's gotta be a blue push. JK, it's not, but they don't know any better. They like intel.
Yeah, really, really good split attack there from G2. Pays dividends. They get the round, a third attacking round on Clubhouse. Now really puts them in the driver's seat as they switch over to the defense, and this is where they are now favored. I know the scoreboard says 3-3, Pengu, but realistically and statistically, G2 are very much in front right now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Getting a 3-3 half with the current defensive side victories on average. This is a massive win for the team that started on the attack. And very different orbital lineup here from G2 compared to DarkZero. First of all, they're roaming top 4 on the basement defense. They're playing Solus, Valkyrie, and Mossy, as well as Fenrir. So basically 5 entirely different operators in that of DarkZero. And DC, they got the same attacking lineup as G2 did. They got, the hard breaching in the Maverick. They got the side executing the Ying. They got, Buck verticality. They got Jackal for their own clear. You need, if you're DarkZero right now, to find opening kills. They don't have as much utility. They don't have a Capitao. They don't have as many ways to problem solve around this. So if you're DC right now, you're looking at going relatively quickly here and ideally getting a kill.
Uno towards Secret. It is Benja that gets that opening kill onto Nave. One of the hard breaches gone. Well, there's the second hard breacher gone. This is a disaster of a start in terms of the second half for DarkZero. Pampersu maybe just thinking, let's just go fast here. This is not really what we want to play in the roam game. That site should be a little bit more vulnerable. The Fenrir have not mind though. How effective is that? The visibility becomes 0. Virtue plays that perfectly on the Fenrir, and they know there's another one coming out of dirt. They're into sight. What is Polo looking at? It's a 4 versus 1. Virtue was just in blue. He just killed your teammate. You're not even looking in that direction. Virtue has just played that perfectly. One of the star players in this series hasn't really made many mistakes.
That was absurd. So the near side from the Fenrir mine basically means that Pampersu can't see the blue rotate, and Virtue is completely blinded by the Candela, so they pass and cross each other, but Virtue, of course, the better positioning for the flank, gets things done. And those Fenrir mines, what a phenomenal operator in that round. They shut down the fast pushes, they give you intel for side entries, and it means that if DarkZero were like, okay, a lot of roamers hit the side, they have another backup plan like those gadgets.
And it's the right play. I mean, in terms of what DarkZero did there, when you lose those two and you know it's a heavy roam game, go straight for sight. You've got secret control, go straight down blue, especially on an operator like the Ying, when you can throw those Candelas in. That's a really good way to solo entry. Look at that from Benja. I mean, so clean inside a kitchen, but I think in terms of what Pampersu's done there is the right play. Virtue, though, on the Fenrir with the F-Not mines, just counters it.
I'm more surprised about the fact that Benja was inside of kitchen, basically by the window, and no one droned him or figured out he was there, because if you walk into kitchen with 2 heart breachers, your only heart breachers, and you didn't drone to check it, it's like, what happened there? You know? But he's playing Muzzy, so probably the Muzzy pistol there to slow things down. Maybe he caught a drone or something. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but the point is, very small gaps here being made from DarkZero, small mistakes that are occurring in the server, but the impact from those mistakes are absolutely like astronomical, as it means 2 kills for a single player. And now Doki, in the same exact corner side of kitchen, is also looking to get cheeky on this angle.
On the Solus as well, so certainly again, like the Mozzie before, can be annoying in denying drones. Doki here's the repel. Well, the angle was just a little bit off. Bolo ready for it from Doki. He's done that. He's probably seen that play time and time again and deals with it. Finally, it feels like, for the first time on club, an early advantage for DarkZero. Now it's about capitalizing. You're not going to get many opportunities against a team like G2 where they give you a bit of an in. There's one for free, and it's the Solus. So now the drone game can come into effect. We saw how good it was for DarkZero back on Chalet, so play into it. You've got lots of time. Get the drones game. You can obviously clear out any kind of roam towards site. This is a really solid opportunity for DarkZero.
It really is. Now they gotta show that they got what it takes with the advantage, etc. And that thorn in their side that is Doki and Chalet, that is gone, as you mentioned. But the thing is, the only thing about DarkZero that I haven't liked in this series is that when they get their early advantages, it's often because G2, they give it to them. They allow them that opening. If Doki doesn't jump out that window, there's no way DC gets to open and kill at least that quickly. But now we see them, they're ready to go, and they're doing it together.
Uno trying to be aggressive towards Bathroom, eventually loses out. NJR with a good angle, and finally something is happening for DarkZero. 5-on-3, again playing that drone game, getting this information. No misdroning this time, and certainly no pesky mozzies, as that one gets shot out by Alamau on the dock, falls back to Cash. They've got to make sure though, don't of course now think this is going to be a bit of an easy round. Cash and CCTV certainly can be defended by 3 players. You've still got to really get good information towards site. This is a lovely drone from Pamper, but it does get shot down. Understanding that Alamau very much playing behind the bomb chassis.
Alamau could clutch up here. Soft low to construction, long lines aside, Doc stims in pocket, good weapon as well with that zoom scope. So if you can hold on to green box and get some kills here and stop DC's push, that could be a way in for D2. But outside of Alamau's position, I'm not sure what else they have that is of high value. Virtue, bottom mid staircase, not highly impactful. And there we go. Alamau's down for the count, injured and now confirmed.
Yeah, obviously was able to maybe get himself back up, but it did get confirmed, like you said, by Bolo. The Nitrocell onto Nave is successful though in a response. Virtue rotating from rafters all the way to top red, so that offers something a little bit different. NGR droning, he would have anticipated someone to be around rafters, now spots it with the drone, no one there, and he just did he just spot the leg of Virtue? I don't know if he did. Oh, either way, that one confirms it. 25 seconds left. This is a 2 versus 4. You push in too soon, you push in too early. Virtue is very capable from this position. They have to be so clinical here, DarkZero, to not make mistakes. Flash goes in, Canadian with a little sneak in push. It's a nice little turtle plant from Canadian, and NJR finally clears that top red position. He was droning it out, he was ready for it. Nicely done from DarkZero at At no point did they over-rush the attack there.
No, that's good. That was like Troy said. Let's do it together. Same pace, same time. And you're right. If somebody pushes too early, you start losing those bodies. You give G2 that momentum, that confidence that they thrive on, or thrive off rather. So it's a good look here for DarkZero. But again, it started off with Doki sending it out a window with a very high risk, medium reward kind of scenario. And of course, Bolo was ready for it. He won the gunfight, but a really risky play from Doki.
Yeah, it certainly was, but those risky plays is what's been so successful for G2.
Exactly.
So you can't really be too critical in that moment, because I think Doki's been so sensational. Back on Chalet, still playing well as well here on Clubhouse, 8 and 5. And the reason for it, not necessarily always those over-aggressive run-outs, but still that kind of similar play style, that confidence that you can feel where you are trying to make those plays happen rather than sitting in a corner.
I mean, strategically, we always used to say that it's like you make it a check, right? Let's do the spawn peek check, right? You have 3 people spawn peek in, and if the enemy like lacks discipline, they don't check those angles, they'll die. Doki's doing a, are you ready for a jump out check? And the thing is, it is so often that Doki gets the kill in that scenario. And when you let him get away with it so often throughout the entire group stage, of course he's gonna think to himself, this is not a 50-50. I win these like 80% of the time, of course I'm gonna go for it. And then when he gets punished, Doki's like, okay, maybe I won't do it for a couple of rounds now. I tried it, they're ready for it, now I know. So you gain a bit of intel strategically from those positions as well.
Over to Gym Bedroom now for the 9th round. There was a thought maybe of bringing the Glass similar to G2, but no, they opt against it. Once again, the Capital has been very prevalent. And they do bring the double hard breach, the Thermite, and the Ace, anticipating that they will look to open up, obviously, Kennels, then over towards Jacuzzi, maybe the single wall con as well. And then use that Capital and Flores to displace, dislodge, get rid of some utility. Doki towards top red with rotate in towards Cash. A very common setup right now that we're seeing from G2. Not really changing too much up. I mean, Benji over towards Rafters, really doubling down the defense on this Cash and TV side, but that's about it. Everything else looks pretty conventional.
Oh, but there we go. DC with an aggressive play.
Oh, wow.
We don't see this from them so often, right? They just breach the wall, instantly jump in the window. Bolo starts things off. Also on a heater right now, 7 kills to his name. And G2, one of the first times here in Clubhouse, they got caught off by surprise.
Yeah, they certainly did, because that's not the conventional play from DarkZero.
No.
They opt to go for the fast pace off of the breach, and Bolo then catches them off guard. Benj, and the fact that, I don't know if they droned him out or not, but again, you don't always see that Rafters being held on this particular side, and he was ready for it. Really well done here from DarkZero. And not only that, but they're starting to enable Bolo. Doki's just feeling the pressure down below, from above. Nothing he could do. He got stuck over towards top red. He couldn't make that rotate back over towards Cash. Otherwise, he would have died for free. Instead, he has to just hold the angle, hope they push into him, maybe get one and then done. And ultimately now for DarkZero, they're looking for a second attacking round in a row.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of performance and this kind of playstyle that's off-pace from DC, that's what we saw from them against teams like FearX, NIP, and GK. But they've had a harder time making that a possibility against G2 because of how tight they play as a team and how in their face they are as a team as well. So I'm really proud of them to see them figuring out their problems after a map and a half and say, okay, let's try and make that new system work against a really, really good team. And this has been their cleanest round so far, at least from the attacking side.
And again, it's that set play routine there from DarkZero that paid dividends. They're again also getting Bolo involved now. You know, it's very easy to look at that last map and be like, oh, he went like 3 and 9 or 3 and 10. He started a bit slow here. Everyone wants to point out the negatives, but now he's starting to get cooking a little bit, now finding that confidence. And it's because DZ put him in that position to do that. It's like, hey, we're going to open main bridge. You're then going to go in. We trust you to get those entry kills. He delivers, gets the double, 35 seconds left. And again, like the round prior, they've slowed it down. They're on the same page, the same pace. They know what the win condition is. Go for default inside a gym. Una can't really do anything from logistics. And Virtue's too slow on the rotate. Yeah, indeed, too slow. The Nitro Cell was the right play. He just didn't get there in the right time.
Oh boy, what now? 5v2 retake here from outside the building, on the rappels, in the hallways, in bathroom. D2 are completely locked out.
Yeah, the fact that Uno and Virtue have both stayed alive throughout that plant really does sort of highlight DarkZero not really being too worried about the kills, about the players. They probably know one's going to go and try and play Vert down below. They probably know there's one towards logistics watching, but they can't watch Jim. So again, it's just all about understanding what do we need to do. We need to get plant. We don't need to worry too much about clearing out the rest of the site towards the backside of logistics. We just go straight to Jim. We've got balcony control. It's a 5-on-2. We don't have to rush this. Good drone usage. And really right now from DarkZero, we are seeing two very different gameplay play styles between these two teams.
Oh yeah, and I love to see it because they're playing very differently, but they're both playing at a very high level. And G2 on the back foot right now, so you know, we gotta figure out what is going wrong. Technical timeout time, and we might hear a word or two here for Lucky, depending on the audio levels.
feel like it's getting lower and lower.
I feel like it's like, don't listen to us.
Yeah, I mean, clearly I think they're for G2. It's not panic stations. First and foremost, they've won the first map. So it's not like this is suddenly series on the line territory. But one thing that's quite noticeable is the fact that this is Clubhouse.
Yeah.
You shouldn't probably be losing 2 attacking rounds in a row. There's some concerns here, probably more so in the way that they're playing the defense. And it's like, well, why were they so successful on Chalet? Well, Chalet is a completely different map because Chalet, you can deny those entries, play the windows, get aggressive like that. Clubhouse, maybe not so much. And I think maybe then you kind of look at maybe what Doki's doing in that earlier round, not the last round, but the early round, with the jump out. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it, but do you need to do that on club?
Yeah. Also, we saw in the technical timeout there, Romalo, the coach of G2.
So they did have the pings.
Yeah, okay, they did have intel, yeah. So again, it's not like, oh, let's go crazy. Like, no, let's go crazy, but it's structured, right? It makes sense. We have intel. But the coach of G2, Romalo, very, very strategical-oriented coach. And it looked like he was pointing like, you go do that. That's your responsibility. I got the feeling that this is a strategical change-up for G2. Whereas on DarkZero, you have the most experienced player, in-game leader on your team of Troy. You don't need me to tell you what to do. Troy knows what to do. At least we assume so, right? So this is like a really active, every round by round leader in someone like Troy, versus when strat things aren't going the right way, Romalo needs to call a technical timeout and really tell his players, okay, this has to change now, boys. And we see this off the rip. Tubero,
yeah.
Tubero for the first time. Kite, more wall deny oriented playstyle here from G2 saying, let's go from really fast in your face to make them problem solve against us.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting change up because I thought maybe there would be a world in which G2 would be like, let's go the opposite direction, let's go super fast, let's go super aggressive. But instead, it's like, actually, let's bring it back a little bit. DarkZero are good, they're a slow team. Let's let the clock maybe become their enemy. Slow things down, bring that wall denial, try and make sure, can you keep Jacuzzi? Well, I mean, there is a bit of, maybe a bit of both, but still, we'll still go fast. Alamel just goes with the run out and catches Peppers too, which is big onto the buck. But ultimately, the game plan here is probably going to try and keep Jacuzzi. I would imagine the wall closed. You've got the electricals, and along with obviously the tuber out. Although, from what I can see right now, I don't know if I can see the electros on Jacuzzi wall. So I'm very curious to see what the game plan is. In fact, they've electrified top red into cash.
Oh yeah, it's all in the extension near the construction wall and cash wall. And then you see like the util operators, Tubero, Kite, and Mute, they're playing passive on side. The less util operators like Valkyrie and Solus, to Kellerman, they're very actively roaming on the map first floor and basement. So there's an order here, there's a hierarchy. There's the 3-man and the 2-man.
They've also left Kennel soft as well. So they don't really, and they've opened up a couple of holes. So they make that a little bit annoying. So clearly right now for G2, it's kind of like, let's defend territory more than the site itself. You see some teams, they'll bring this same lineup, but they'll electrify and fortify Jacuzzi. They'll play it the back towards main and logistics. That gives up all of balcony. That gives up all of con. But in this instance, though, you've got all of cash and you've got all of con. You don't have top red, but you don't need it.
Sure that Drone has seen or heard Doki, right? No, they have no idea. It was right next to me the entire time. It's a disaster.
Well, I think in this instance, again, with the way that this round has played out, because it's so difficult for DarkZero to just kind of get the positions they want, they've gone below. And then G2 understand that, and they're holding these positions off guard. DarkZero have been really good on the drone game, but there's only 2 drones up. So those have been denied again from Alamel as well, running around on the Solus. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying. It's like, you know your role. You do this, you do that. And I feel like that's what G2 have kind of brought to this 10th round. Really structured gameplay.
I feel the same way. There's a very clear definitive line here. Oh, what a way to go out there from Benjamin. So through the drone hole in such a strong position as well. Alamel 50-50 gunfight. He wins that one. Nave looking up the staircase rather than on the platform, leaving just NJR in a 1v3.
40 seconds to make miracles happen for NJR. Very much a miracle would be required from this position because now everyone else has just floated back towards site for Uno Virtue around that 90 and main stairs position. Alamel as well inside a bathroom. He won't get cleared out initially as NJR makes his way into site. He doesn't even have Kit. Kit is actually in the hands of G2 over towards the main side. Drop down. Nice little kill onto Alamel, but time and Kit, the biggest factor on main stairs, and then has to run back up. There's no time left. He flashes himself. He also flashes the enemy in Uno. Uno gets the kill as soon as he's no longer full white, and G2 went a very comprehensive round with the way that they brought a structured game plan to that one.
And now I'm excited for the future rounds here because G2 can they get to play 3 bombs out of here at least. So we get to see this kind of switch up in their mentality on their player positions based off that tactical timeout. We can see it applied to CCTV, maybe even bar, and of course base and bomb sites. So this will be a big adaptation game now for DarkZero, where they should realize off that previous round they just lost, hey, something's different here. There's been a switcheroo in the opponent's setup. We gotta change something as well to match it.
The question will be though if it's site specific, and especially considering the way in which they kind of played that particular site clearly had its own structured game plan in place, whereas now we go down towards Church Arsenal, we go to the basement, and there's probably only so much you can really do that changes things up, but they keep very similar operator lineup. They bring the two Brown, they bring the Kaid. In terms of what you can do with that, you can either go triple, but it looks like they've gone with a 2-1 split. They've left the middle soft for now. We'll see if that changes. And then of course the hatches. The hatches will be the big play in trying to deny that. So far we've seen a lot of play over towards that stock hatch, at least from the side of G2 themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, look at DarkZero. They are blowing up their attack lineup right now, figuring out, okay, what do we actually want and what do we need? With the multi-ban being in play, I'm not sure the OSA is maybe a reason for that. We often see when OSA is in play that you go kitchen hatch, open up the hatch, drop down with the shield in your hands, put it down, and try and get a plan established. But you're up against 4 C4s.
You can go dirt as well with the shield, and then eventually put that shield down in the entry of dirt once you make your way in. Then you've got a nice little crossfire between Arsenal in towards blue. So that is an option if they want to have that. It's a little bit versatile with that Ulster, but like you said, that drop down in the kitchen hatch is also really solid.
You know the camera is, but you can't quite reach. It feels bad, but at least we know that Bolo is an IQ player who will use the gadget, unlike some IQ players that we've seen. Same with Warden, of course. But you're up against 4 C4s, claws on the hatches, 2 impacts from Dokusan on the Valkyrie. So a lot of different explosive utility here from the defensive lineup that could easily net them 1 or 2 kills.
So 5-5 scoreline. Winner of this round will get themselves match/map point. G2 could very well be series point if they close this one out. The IQ doing its work against the Valkyrie, which is obviously going to deny a lot of information away from G2. Up above, slow and steady wins the race for DarkZero, has kind of been their mantra. And I think when you look at the lineup that they're bringing here, it will be the case again. Alamau getting a little bit testy here, fakes the C4, maybe thinking someone's going to swing, or he's just having a bit of fun. Either way, he's very much ready to keep that main stairs under control for G2 as hatches start to get worked on.
Once C4 went out there, that was from Alamau, and it does a bit of damage onto NGR, but he stays alive. Very important here on the Thatcher. You don't want to lose that early, especially against like the Tubu, the Kai Claws, etc., which both claws still in Benja's pocket. They'll wait to see where those EMPs are going, count them, how many have been spent, and then utilize those claws. Keep DarkZero guessing as to, okay, where are they going to deny us? What do they care about the most?
Just over 60 seconds remaining. DarkZero, can they find a way to get themselves to map point here? Maybe against the odds at this point, because G2's setup has not been breached. And the Nitro Self and Benja will hit the mark. Bolo to fall. The IQ gone. Hatch electrified. And suddenly now for G2, they've got themselves an eye on series point. Can the hatch get opened up?
They mistimed the EMP, so the Kai Claw goes through, denies the hatch, now the 2-pro frees it instead, so all of a sudden, there's no entry for DC. That OSA, not gonna play on kitchen hatch, maybe could do it instead like you brought forward earlier, but there's only 30 seconds to pivot here. Canadians gotta make a quick call.
Stock hatch open, motor hatch open, and there's still main stairs, so there are still options, and finally with 30 seconds left, the kitchen hatch now has also been opened up. Drone goes through, good little red ping onto Benja, over towards the hallway, and a rotate out to safety for G2. This looks like it'll have to just be a kitchen hatch drop. You can see the triple stack. Incendiaries go out and clear the backside of Arsenal. Canadian to drop down with that shield. The Talon shield to go down. Has the kit. Will plant behind it. Is Benja going to be able to get into a position to deny? Not necessarily. Nitro comes through. G2 getting the job done here, though. The attack from DarkZero largely stalled out because of that Kaid 2-Brow combination. And G2 showing right now that they've got the chops here at this event to go the whole way, because they're about to 2-0 DarkZero.
Yeah, their biggest foes so far in this event. DC have looked phenomenal in the group stage thus far, and I love to see tactical timeouts having a massive impact on what the team is doing in the server. A massive change up from G2 rather, saying instead of playing for kills, play for utility, play around the fact that they love to plan. That's exactly what DC they want, and we're gonna try and deny it.
DarkZero time out needed, required at match point, series point, group point as well for G2. Win this map, win this next round, you will be first in this group, and you go straight to the quarterfinals in the playoffs. For DarkZero, one last time to talk things over, to discuss what is required for a team that right now just hasn't been able to offset probably the aggression of G2. The rounds that DZ won, it felt like maybe for a moment, a very moment in time, that G2 probably just pulled back a little bit. And then they had that timeout, spoke things over, and bam, we're seeing little runouts again. Alamau with a good pick earlier on out of dirt. And they just look really set as well. And they just kind of also started like, let's just bring Tube and Kaid and just like shut up shop.
I want to emphasize that what I'm about to say is not me giving up on DarkZero by any means in this series, but losing here up against G2 could in the long run be beneficial because they have not faced a loss as a team yet with this roster. And that can be hard for some teams to deal with. Sure, you got Troy, you got a great coaching staff in Mint, but when you're Nave and Bolo with the roster of DarkZero, you've only gone through success. They've only gone to overtime a single time. DC loves to go to OT in previous tournaments, not with intent of course, but they tend to. And they lose maps at previous tournaments. They have gone quote-unquote flawless in terms of victories so far. They don't know what losing feels like.
They only dropped the one map to GK, but that was back on day one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I think it's hard though because also losing to G2 is probably not the end of the world either. So do you get that full effect? Right? It's still a pretty big loss, but yeah, it's interesting. I think you would always rather win at the end of the day, and,
of course,
and try and get that top spot. And also, I think you also then gain a lot by beating a team like G2. That confidence can just really overflow. Potential final round though. If G2 close this out, match and series point cash. CCTV, what have DarkZero cooked up here? From the looks of it initially, nothing too crazy. Understanding though that of course G2 have switched over to that Kaid and Tubrat combination. In response, they've really brought home that Thatcher as well to help out.
The only thing I haven't seen from DC yet, which I was expecting, was the Maverick in action, just like Virtue was saying from G2. Because when you see Tuber and Kaid, Maverick is like your simple, quickest way to deal with that. That only is one operator, whereas now you're playing Thatcher and double hop breach instead, which takes up just more operator slots here. We see it here in action. Tuber will stall things out. Now you gotta sit there and wait. If you had a Maverick, this would have gone a lot quicker because those CMPs do not deal with the canister from Tuber whatsoever. So you're forced to just wait. So again, the Maverick not being in play might cost them some time here. So when the wall gets opened up, they have to speed up elsewhere on the map to make up for lost time.
You do. You could also spend this time as well going around the map and droning and getting information, and while you're waiting for that wall to eventually open up, I mean, we've seen time and time again with this particular site, wall gets opened up, 2 minutes on the clock, and then everyone goes their separate ways. You kind of can still play as if, let's just treat it as if it is open. Oh yeah, you're not going to have the crossfire, you're not going to have the sight lines. 90 seconds left. In terms of the Zoto canisters starting to, of course, run out. They're gone already for Alamau. No longer have the 4, only the 3 canisters. So time to now get to work against that Kaid. And, of course, the EMP from Nave will be successful. Shot initially, followed from that Rafters position. There's a double stack, actually, from G2 on Rafter. This is where the Capital can be successful, though, from Canadian. Lovely incendiary. Virtue somehow alive, eventually, though, flushed out by Bolo. Really solid work from DarkZero. Great shot from Canadian.
Yeah, and they're so quick to the punch. They recognize time's a little bit lower here, guys. Let's speed things up. Wall gets open. 5 goes out immediately. They had yellow ping information and knew there was 2 players catwalk. Last person here in the way is Uno on the Kaid. So Benjamasta on the Omai, rather. When he's done for, they get catwalk control.
Really good work as well there from Canadian, dealing with the magnet, then throws out the incendiary. 40 seconds left. Still need to clear Benja, though. Good position at Rafters. 1 for 1, though, and the second one to follow from Benja. 2 down below in Garage. Information he can provide over to Uno, but he does lose his slap. Uno did eventually make his way over to CCTV to help out, but now in a 1 versus 3. So 30 seconds remaining. Kit with Canadian down to Uno. With a Nitrous Cell, maybe anticipating one to still play off of the breach, the repel. He's got the game sense, but it doesn't hit. It goes over Nafe, and that was a big part of maybe Uno being able to win this round.
Would have been a huge D4 for him, and now he's in the tight spot. Flashbang's going up, verticality, up the staircase to go. They're both blinded.
Canadian will get over towards that default behind the bomb chassis, start getting that plant down. Uno, a second one in the 1 versus 1 now with Canadian. He sticks it. Uno should know where he's going to be as well. Uno wins it out in the 1 versus 3. And G2 send DarkZero packing from this battle for top spot. G2 claim number 1 themselves. DarkZero will have to settle for second.
And we said that both teams can clutch up when it matters, but Uno with ice in his veins, missed the C4, does not care. care, will seek the engagement, fully blinded, trading things out. And I will say though, DarkZero, phenomenal save attempt in the final round there. Despite being locked out for over a full minute, they just acted immediately once they got the wall.
Well, I hope you can convince them that second's not that bad. That first was not the be and all for G2 though. They topped the group. For DarkZero, second will have to do. They can't take down G2, who 2-0 over DarkZero. And for Uno, I felt like that Nitrocell was something that was required. Yeah. Evidently not. I loved then the push over to Red Stairs, wins that one. And really in that moment, again, we look at it as a 1v3. You have to look at it as that player's, can I make 3-1 versus 1s? And he did just that. And you also got to remember, Canadian has to plant. He can't really help out in the gunplay. He has to be behind the bomb chassis. He's not involved. As soon as you get that kill red, it actually then becomes a straight 1v1.
It does. And with that round victory, it means that G2, they are perfect in their groups. They've won 2-0 every single matchup. So they cannot really perform any better than what they did. And they themselves are looking like they actually want to defend their title, which I love to see.
Top of the group. Undefeated. Yep. You could not ask for a better start to SI24 for the defending champions. Back over to the desk.
All right, welcome back to the desk, everyone. I'm Ginny, joined this time around once again by Fox, and we have our interviewee for today, Doki. Thank you for joining.
Hello, guys.
Congrats. You're the top of the group.
Of course.
Of course. No, wait. This is a very different attitude, because when I interviewed you day one, I was like, we had a couple of question marks coming into this after that, performance in Southbridge. And you're like, yeah, same. So what's changed between then and now?
We're not playing Southbridge. We're playing Six Invitational, so it's a bit different.
A little bit,
just a little bit different. No, nothing changed. We're just playing good Siege. Individually, everyone's playing good. We're pulling some rounds out of our back ends that maybe we shouldn't be winning, but that's a tournament. I guess that's how you win tournaments. People pop off, enemy teams make mistakes, like that's how it is. So I'm confident. I think there's some things we can improve on still, but overall pretty good, I'd say. 16 points.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, can't be better because it's 2-0 for every single one.
Today, based off of your guys' energy in the room, it felt like you guys wanted this win specifically a lot more, obviously. But I'll give you the floor a little bit to kind of gas up the other team. Do you think DZ was the hardest team you played in the group so far?
I'm humble in victory and humble in defeat. I'm not one of them. I think they're the best team in the group, next to us. The way that they play is really good. I think also they're still a new team, with Nathan and Bolo still getting the swing of things. So I think as the more games they play, the more mistakes they make, they'll fix the mistakes. So I'm happy to play them early on, because I think they looked really good against the other teams. They looked pretty good. And I think the map bans maybe threw them off a bit today. We picked some crazy maps, to be honest. I don't know why. But
I looked at that. I was like, these are some crazy bans. One thing that I felt like led you into those bans is I saw you guys ban out Castle on Clubhouse. Was there, Nafe, obviously, that's his most played op in the tournament. What was the walkthrough over banning Castle?
They ban Azami every map, and we know that the gym and CC bomb sites, if you extend Master, can be hard to attack with Castle, and especially with the meta we have now, no Ashe, no Zofia, no Sledge. These are operators that aren't really played so much, so Castle can be a problem sometimes. So, and also it's gives them less stuff to play behind. You know what I mean? They need to hide more and have worse angles that the attack guns can just kill. So I think it was a good ban. Was Romalio's idea? I have no idea. I don't do anything. I just sit and
you just sit there and play. You played pretty well.
Yeah, I played pretty good. Yeah.
Aw, that's such a nice compliment coming from you. It's the nicest thing you've ever said to him, man. Look at you. Well, congrats again on the win. But I want to touch upon tomorrow with it being an off day, and then you're heading more into the playoffs, and then I'm assuming you're gunning for that live audience final.
Of course.
What's the plan?
I don't know how things work yet, so I don't know when we find our opponent. So whenever we find our opponent, I assume Carl, Alamau, and Ramalho will do some preparation, and then after that they'll tell the team what we want to play, and then we'll just start working on next opponent pretty much. But I don't think any opponent here is looking very good apart from us right now. So yeah, come and get the hammer if you want it, I guess.
All right, defending champs, thank you so much for the interview. We do appreciate it. And for those of you at home, once again, a reminder in terms of how this one went. It was a 2-0. Again, G2-0 is so back, and this time around against an opponent like DZ. I think this is the one that we expected Fox to be the one going actually all the way to that decider map, but that didn't happen to be the case at all.
Not at all, but it doesn't mean that DZ necessarily played bad. I think them being a newer team with the 2 pickups that they got, it took them a little more time to, I guess, feel a little more comfortable and just get comfortable with all of the operators that they had to bring. We saw, a couple rounds where G2 was perfectly countering against them, and it took them a little longer to, I guess, assess what was going on. But that doesn't mean that DZ's down and out, just is a little more practice, another best of 3 to get them into the next playoffs.
I think Pamba started out very strong as well, in my opinion. That was really this as well. He's just outside getting 2 kills. I think we've seen it before, where Pamba had a slower start to the game and then eventually really got up to speed. Unfortunately for them, though, this time it wasn't enough. There was some good adaptation, I guess, from DarkZero on their own attack as well. They struggled a little bit with that Velk, with the information that was being fed to the G2 players constantly. Then switched to the IQ, but just G2 on defense at this moment seems like such a powerhouse. They're really utilizing that slow down meta with the Cade, with the Tubero so very well. It's making it almost impossible to breach for DarkZero.
Absolutely. Right after they did the tactical timeout, that's when we noticed it mostly. They completely switched on the aggressive play. They were playing out into the bomb site, and they were really relying a lot on the Tubero K to deny the wall. And DZ, instead of bringing the Mav, which they did do earlier in the round, but during that time they didn't. They just used their time, I guess, as a form of payment, and it ended up biting them in the behind because they didn't have enough time to execute on the site, and G2 was just sitting there with the C4s ready.
Well, if I had $1 for every time the word behind was mentioned on the desk this week, I would have $2, which technically isn't a lot, but it's kind of weird that it happened within like the span of like 5 minutes. Either way, looking at this matchup, there were a lot of expectations on DZ as well, but it didn't feel like they fell short, so to say, of these expectations. It's rather that G2 showing up after a lot of questions that we had since we had seen them in South Breach, they've just blown our expectations out of the water.
Yeah, it comes down to very small things as well, right? I mean, round 11 was a play where they dropped the kitchen hatch, they went to go for a plant, it was with an Asa, and then the way that G2 collapsed onto that, with like having people push from all different sides, really onto that main thing that's going on the bomb side, it just shows that it's teamwork, communication, the fundamentals that we keep on talking about are really up to what we expect from G2.
And for G2 especially, we were expecting individual players to be stepping up, and that's exactly what happened. So the intel play of the game were obviously going to be going to one of the G2 players, specifically to Alamo and his ace. We've seen this in map 1, and honestly, that might have been the nail in the DZ's coffin.
It for sure was on map 1. This is where Alamau was able to get 2 early picks, fall back to play around his teammates, and just because they have so much aggression and so much chaos, they weren't able to pin down Alamau. He actually was left undetected, untouched up top, and then put in the 1v3. Even though he was behind a wall, right next to Nafe, right next to one of the DZ members, he was still able to get isolated 1v1v1s in each situation. And obviously at the end, when they went for the plant, they had the info. And I think that's what sets G2 aside from the rest of the teams in the tournament, why Doki was very confident in saying we're the best looking team at the event, is because the way they're able to manage the information and the information that they give out to other teams.
So often do you have teams where you worry because it's one player constantly standing up and constantly, well, putting in the effort and the rest is maybe falling a little behind? We're seeing it here as well with G2 really having these individual performances, but it's not so much like, oh, we should be worrying because it's only that person doing it. No, when they get put in the situation, like Alamau, like Uno in that second map as well, they will still clutch it. It's just not that they're relying on it so much.
Yeah, and we're hammering this home. The fact that G2 is actually the #1 in their respective group, which happens to be Group A. And with this game done and dusted, it also means that DZ are actually going to be able to confirm themselves in that second slot, NIP third, Fox is fourth, and unfortunately, the game that we saw earlier today, GK, they go home.
Yeah, they go home, and Fox is not only fourth, but he's currently on the desk too.
Get him off the desk, please.
Oh my
ASAP. I want him gone. And expectations, I think for me personally, when I saw this bracket, I was like, okay, G2, NIP, DarkZero, GK. I expected Fox A to be the one going home.
Close enough, close enough.
I expected them to be the ones going home, but it didn't happen to be the case, and NIP third.
Yeah, no, I think for FearX, a lot of people have been saying like, oh, you know what, they've been to so many of these international events, they just don't always make out a group as a team that's really strong in their individual region, but not so much when it comes to the international play. I do think, we talked about it a lot, their coach coming in, of course, with that Brazilian influence, and it being a thing where, you know, you can't make so much magic happen in a short time, especially if the language barrier is also a thing, but we're seeing really good things with that, and I feel like, especially the more time that FearX are given with this new coach, with this iteration of the roster, it'll definitely lead to some really good things.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for your in-depth analysis and your work on the desk here during the group stage. I do appreciate it. It has been fun. We're going to be going over to a break because we're going to be back with the halftime show. And I heard there's going to be some tic-tac-toe, so we might want to stick around for that.
There was a lot more of a roam dedicated by D+ than we saw.